in. In fact, I was wondering when I was reading this, whether the doctor will come first or the professor will come first. But when I thought, let me not point it out, I'll ask the student later and correct myself. Because professor के बाद भी full stop है, doctor के बाद भी full stop है. Or if I know Simran, if I know him very well, I think so. He still have put something under the cover. He's total open book. And I think over the period of time that we have met and discussion with each other, just to give you a few examples of it, he motivated us that we should come for a training to cabinet. And all people who go were already mediated, not that they have not done that mediation training. So 2-3 of them had in fact put question to me, I don't know what you hear, but said, sir, I am already a mediator, I am doing mediations, what am I going to learn? I said, if you ask me, at this moment I don't think I also know what I am going to learn. But there is certainly something going to happen. And the experience showed that whenever I went to Singapore, for example, every training that I went through, it was different. It added. And for us in India, those principles are structured in their mediation without the Mediation Act they already in place. But we have very peculiar problems. And I don't think that structured situation really works. You make reflection, you are flexible, go left, right, go up and down, and do it. Because the reason is you are looking at resolution, you are not looking at anything. So when we all went there, we were fortunate to have 2 of our sitting judges with us. In fact, I went to one of them, I remember to say that I have 2 partners before watching, who's coming at me. I'm not here to be watching the complaint. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Pana. He said, I will also. So I wrote to him, sent an invitation to the clearances that come to the government. He and Justice Vipin Sanghi, the guy also, Chief Justice of Pana, they both went. And I thought when honorable judges go with us anywhere abroad, they get that protocol from the state. So the embassy looks after them. They'll get their car, they'll get their hotels, everything. So I thought they'll probably go on with us alright, but they'll probably have their own. They sat with us few minutes when we started. And they got so engrossed into it that for the entire training period they did not leave us alone for a minute. And that showed 2 things to me, speak for myself. Commitment of those 2 honorable judges in dispute resolution. But they were fascinated by the way the training was being done, that they thought they would be able to learn something more which will help them in dispensing justice, because they were sitting judges at that time. Yesterday only somebody remarked to me that Justice Paul is doing an arbitration, and during arbitration what he is saying, you should mediate. And we have agreed that he should mediate. Will he continue as a arbitrator thereafter? I said, well, speaking for myself, if he does this mediation, then it's good enough. Otherwise, he will have to excuse himself. But I have seen examples where judges or arbitrators have actually not really mediated in terms of what we have structured situation, but they have brought the parties closer, and out of 7 disputes, 4 are consented by the both parties, and therefore it's not really a mediation. There is no mediation ceremony written by them. The arbitrator only notes that these 4 questions are decided like this with the consent of the parties. And it decides the remaining. Something like this will happen. So there are doubts in our mind. learning should stop. There is time that every time that we have gone, I mean, she was with us in Singapore last time. It was total eye-opener. We learned so many new things. Because everything is changing. Nothing is static. The truths are changing. My friends, I told some of them, that the last dispute that came before me, though from a friend point of view, that his daughter was, marriage is fixed. A destination wedding. The daughter says, please postpone. So what do you think? That probably somebody else is on the scene. So when they told me this, I said, look at the new person, the boy is somebody on the scene. Look at him, if he's fine, why not get her married there? He says, no sir, that's not the problem. I said, what is the problem? Problem is a particular brand of a clothes she wants to wear on the date of her wedding. And that was 5 years ago, today it's out of fashion. I've taken her to there, I told her pick up anything that you want. But she did not do it. So it took me almost, that's what when you call it mediation, I don't know whether I can even call it mediation. But yes, these are our circumstances in our society today, which distinguishes India from every part of the world. And that's where that 2 hours, 2.5 hours spent with her. She in fact went to this question and after her parents came in, that I would like now you to choose and I will. She brought her there. I just told somebody that I was chairing a committee of the sexual harassment. I reached there early and this girl also came in. Right? She introduced herself. So I took her to a separate room and asked her what was the question. I just put it something for her. She said every 2 weeks, 3 weeks she asked me my picture. I said, did you say anything else? You must have said you're very beautiful. And you are. So what is wrong in it? Something which is God has made. You are beautiful, I call you beautiful, what is this there in it? So that 15-20 minutes of talk before we actually went for the committee changed our complex. She comes up and her counsel says, at the outset I want to request you, sir, we don't want this. Don't see this perception. We are today moving in the society with perceptions. I see Reena driving new car. I say, yeah, Reena can drive, I can also drive. I go and buy it, whether I need it or I don't need it. So that's the question today. And I want to share with all of your eminent people that a settlement was done, X amount of money was to be paid, we settled at Y. And I said, okay, give me only 12 lakhs. And the first settlement down, then we give you 10 lakhs installment. He comes back after 3 days and says, sir, I'm not able to do 12 lakhs. I told him, एक गाड़ी बेच दोगे, मैं आपको बाहर छोड़ने गया था, रोज किसी नई गाड़ी में आते थे, गाड़ी बेच दो तो और रिव्यू छुड़ा दूंगा। गाड़ी मेरी थोड़ी ना थी। एक दिन मैं राधिका के लिए आता था, एक दिन मीरा के लिए आता था। तो हम एक दिखावा करने लगते हैं। तो हमको मीडिएशन से उस दिखावे को बाहर निकालना। We have to take it out. We have to tell people, and I am very proud to tell you that Amita is here with us, Miranda House, Dorotram College, Shriram College of Commerce, when the COVID of a chairperson of the youth hall. It's relevant. So they said our children are only stuck with this. They don't want anything else. Class में, class के बाहर, इधर उधर जहाँ पे बैठे. So we want you to do some workshop by which we can put them away. 3-day workshop, 3-day workshop. Everybody was there, everybody was there. And I am giving you a very small example that at lunch what we did was we put a Rumali roti like this here on that table. Put the chicken, salad, everything. And if Sarika is sitting here, Sarika will make for Neelam on the other end. Neelam will make for me. I will make for Simran and JP will make for other. The purpose was that they will talk to each other to understand what he wants to eat or she wants to eat. At least there will be communication. So today the worst problem is communication. And we are fortunate that we have Sukh Simran with us. And I am so happy to tell you, he is exclusively with us. Today I have exclusivity for Maadhyam as well. So I didn't want to waste time on it. I just gave you this background to that one. Where are we today? And his presence will inspire us to do something better. He will give us dimensions of what is happening around the world. Because today I don't know whether which system will work, which point of law will work. I mean, we may have common law, other countries may not have common law, but disputes could be between the two of them. And what mediation doesn't need any law. There's a lot of debate I see going on in our groups where they say you don't need the law, etc. But a mediator has to ask questions. I'm not asking that person to be an expert in law in that branch, but the person must know the fundamentals. And I have given a case where the Supreme Court put a thappa on a mediation settlement and said this property will henceforth belong to children, not a registered children. एक तो मैंने प्रॉपर्टी दे दी सुचना को, दूसरी मेरे को इनकम टैक्स ने कहा भाई साहब कैपिटल गेन में पैसे दो, प्रॉपर्टी भी गई, टैक्स ऊपर आ गया. So the mediator must find out how to write that settlement. He or she will be able to do that only when you know the principles of law. Therefore, to me, every stage of mediation is important. And I think we in India need to look at it, I'm sure, many of you are doing it. There is no preparation. We start saying I am independent, I am neutral, and this opening statement is made. Then I ask, okay, what do you have to say? And you stop, and I say, what do you have to say? This time now, I think we should ask people to put their documents beforehand, so that as a mediator you are able to appreciate what is the actual dispute and what kind of questions you need to ask during mediation. To me, it will reduce the timelines, it will help parties to come to a definite conclusion, and it will felicitate further the mediation process. So they're not standing between you and civil law. Let me request him on behalf of all of us to give us the overview, and then we'll have pointed questions to him to answer. He'll then become our student and we all will become teacher. Thank you, Suchima, to be with us. Please.
Thank you, sir. What an honor to be with all of you. Thank you, sir. Chadyok, sir. And I don't know if how many of you raised your hand if you were at the dinner last night?
How many?
How if you were at
At
the dinner
last night.
That was one of the best dinners I've attended in my life. It was just so beautiful because the hosts were beautiful. And they really made sure I was telling.
This doesn't amount to sexual harassment.
I was telling Mrs. Chadyok, I said, man, I have only one complaint. She got serious. I said, what is the complaint? I said, there are only 21 things to eat. I wanted 22. And it was such a terrific host. They were generous and kind. Thank you, sir, for inviting everybody to your house. It's in the US.
I had said that when you were back,
yes, sir.
those who missed it will be caught.
Thank you, sir.
You get one booking.
So I have 10 to 15 minutes of remarks prepared, but we have a person in the room who I'm going to request to open with a prayer, but not a normal prayer, through singing. He was my student in LA, Pepperdine. His name is Rishabh Kapadia. Rishabh is there. Rishabh is from Gujarat. He's recently started practicing at Supreme Court. I highly regard his father and himself, and without much ado, if we can listen to him for a small prayer. Rishabh, please. Okay, Mike.
This one.
This one.
Namo नमस्ते शारदे देवी सरस्वती मतिपदे वसत्वं मम जीवाग्रे सर्वविद्याप्रदा हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां। तू स्वर की देवी, ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा है, हर गीत तुझसे। तू स्वर की देवी, ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा है, हर गीत तुझसे। हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण हम, हमें प्यार दे मां। हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां।
Do you do this every morning when you leave the court?
I do it at my home.
No, if you start doing it when whichever first court you enter, then actually you are making this for everybody. A question arose for a saint, that when God is within me, then why do I need to go to a Gurdwara or a Mandir? He said for two reasons. One, that when you put your forehead on the doorstep or wherever and surrender yourself to God, then even if your lines are different, they become different for you. One. And the second is when you are with Sangat, that means number of people, and doing that prayer, you don't know which one of them is at that point of time connected to God. So maybe with him only आप उतर जाओ। मैं तो सोच इसलिए रहा था कि जब आप कोर्ट में अंदर घुसोगे तो वकील तो तक जाएंगे ही जाएंगे आपके साथ, शायद जज भी तर देंगे।
I know, Rashab, you need to take a flight soon, so thank you for joining the show.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Everyone, I'm honored to, I don't have the designation to sit next to Mr. Chandok and Mr. J.P. Singh and talk to you, so I'll stand and speak because I want to start on an emotional note. I like to teach, I like to speak, I like to think through heart. And I think India, I used to think, why do I think through heart? And I don't think anymore. Last night I noticed and I learned something. Last night I noticed and learned something. What did I learn last night? I learned that it's not me. I am not that special. And my dear friends, my dear colleagues, my dear elders, my dear mentors, I learned it's not me that I'm not special. I learned it's the Indian culture that is special. What does that mean? It means teaching, speaking, thinking, communicating through heart is part of India, not me. I just happen to be a product, a son, a little minute particle of India. Therefore, I love speaking from heart. So this is the culture. How many of you came to me with your amazing presence, amazing grace to say hello? And sir used to tell me, I said, sir, you still practice. You don't have to, right? He said, no, I don't have to. But he said, Sukhsirman, when I leave my chambers, when 10, 15 people come and do this, and says, sir, nice to meet you, I get finished. I cannot stop that. I don't go for money anymore, I go for that. And I used to wonder what that means. And last night I got to know what that means. If a humble soul like me is getting respect from people in this room, all of you perhaps know way more than I do, it's just beautiful to get that respect from heart. I know it may not be from 100% people, we all know. Somebody is always jealous. अरे ये कौन है यार? ये अमेरिका से कहाँ से आ गया? इसको पता क्या है? Who is this guy? But that's okay. You need those voices because those voices are the one that lit the fire inside you and make you do better. So let them be there too and thank them too. But I know, I thank you for your presence. I want to just start with that humble, heartfelt note because that not me, I used to think, oh, it's me. See, killing this I can remove so much of conflict in the world, isn't it? Conflict is all about I. In my faith, in our faith here on the dais, you can see, even Guru Nanak Dev Ji said very beautifully. He said, you want to do something well? He said just one thing. He said, Ek Onkar. If you just look at the Vyakhya, the meaning, the interpretation of the very first word, not words, word of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Ek Onkar, it means what? It means we are one. There are two interpretations. Some people say God is one. That is actually not the right interpretation. No. The real interpretation is we are one and God is within us. Right? So God is part of us. We are one means what? Each one of us is one, which means what? I don't have an ego, which means who are you is giving me blessing and therefore I am. Without you I am nothing. And Sir used that word today. Sir used the word Sangat when he was explaining to Rishabh how he felt being in his presence and singing. And Sangat is a beautiful part because Sangat teaches us the power of unity, the power of us as one. So today I'm here representing you. Through you is who I am. Without you I am nothing. And Maadhyam, I cannot speak more without recognizing one of the people we have lost, Sadhana Ramachandran ji. Ma'am, wherever you are, I miss you dearly. And you are the reason I'm here. You invited me, recruited me. I was on a family vacation in Punjab visiting my parents with my wife, newly wedded wife. And ma'am called me. He said, Simran, where are you? I said, ma'am, I'm driving to a Gurdwara in a village. Religious journey. She goes, you need to be in Delhi. I said, when, ma'am? Tomorrow. And she never knew how to say no as an answer. She had such a way of negotiating. You cannot say no to her. Some of you who worked with her, that was her beauty. And she would do it so elegantly. Last thing about Sanjog sir, and I'm moving on to my lecture, and that is, I was recently speaking about what has faith taught us in America. Speaking at different places, in LA, in Phoenix, and then I also spoke in Napa Valley. I'll tell you one thing about the proudness I have of Indian Sanskriti, not just one faith, but togetherness of us as one, the civilization, the culture. And that is the word grace. You know, Christians use this word quite a bit, grace. God gave us grace. Let's live the life of grace. So Chandra sir, one thing I want to tell you, I don't know if I've learned enough from you, and this, I know I have not learned enough from you, there's a lot more to learn, and wish I was meant it, I wish I'm lucky enough to be one of your interns and one of your, what do we call them?
Associates.
Juniors. I want to be a junior, sir. So next life make me a junior. That's all my request is. This life I may not qualify, but one thing I see him and most of you, sir, you're living a life of grace. In today's world, when there is so much halla bulla on the internet, and everybody who wants to make a noise goes on the internet and claims I know everything. Let me teach you everything. I can control the world, I can control the world economy. Sir, I think we need leaders who live the life of grace. So thank you for teaching us that by your actions, by your behavior. And that is the biggest lesson for me, and that's why I'm in India. He called me he said, Sukhsiman, come, these are 5 days I have in India, then I'm busy. 24 hours I book the flight. That's how connection happens. So, can I move on to mediation? I have 5 things to share with you, with the overall theme of mediation. And these 5 themes I want to talk to you about are, to me, these are, the trainings you have already received, the processes you have received. But that's not everything, right? Why? So let's go through them one by one. So please write down these 5 themes and then let's go through each one of them quickly, very quickly, because I want to restrict myself to 15 minutes really. And you know, I've given TED Talks, 1 or 2 of them, and I realize the importance of staying on time. The search remarks you can see below 15 minutes, so I'll try my best to stay to the 15 minutes. Number one theme we all need to look into is this realization of power of pre-mediation meetings. We can call them preparation. We can call them, in US we call it ex parte meetings, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about it because that's new emergence of importance is given to it, at least in the United States. Then we'll talk to you, right? Number 1. Number 2, we are re-looking at what is party autonomy and what's the part of the influence of party autonomy in the process of mediation. So we're looking at, should there be joint sessions in the very beginning, or should we put people in separate rooms, caucus-based teaching? And that is keep coming back, as at least I've noticed, at least in the US, this debate is not over yet. Remember we used to call it evaluative style, facilitative style. So now they have moved on from that terminology, they call it labels, to discuss joint session versus private session. And all of you already know it's not the joint session in the beginning only that matters. There's a joint session in the beginning of the mediation, but what if there's also a joint session later on? So it's a little deeper thinking, so I'll come back and talk about that. Number 3 is a very simple thing called negotiating well. Mediation constitutes, I always say, not 1, not 2, but multiple negotiations. So all of us must be trained in negotiations to be a good mediator. That's my premise. I've always said, Aloysius is coming today, and he has also said the same thing. We truly believe negotiating, the art of negotiating, and the masterful people who are sitting here on the dais on the left and right know the art of negotiating. Right? Just know that. Observe them, you can learn, but reading books can be helpful. But today I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to become a better negotiator as a mediator. Number 4, I will discuss a couple of themes which is always keeps coming back, is this idea of difficult people in mediation. We call it personalities. What if a lawyer is very difficult? What if a client is difficult, right? Number 2, difficult domain. I read the word domain. We don't use the word domain, we use the word subject matter expertise in the US. In India we say domain knowledge, right? Same thing. So what if you don't have a domain knowledge? Can you take up that case? So I'm going to comment on that. And the last thing I'll say difficult is, what if you had the domain knowledge and the parties are not difficult, but somehow the process which you led as a mediator became difficult. Somehow something happened that day that you're not resolving the case and you're thinking of calling a friend, calling another person, JP sir and somebody else, and saying, help me, I'm getting stuck here. What do you do then? So I'll comment on each one of them very quickly. The last 5th point I want to talk to you about, just for a minute, is this interrelation between bindingness of mediation and arbitration. Where are we headed? And I think with the Singapore Convention, I think with the idea of us together as a civilization going towards more consensus-based thinking, like mediation, we are opening up to the idea of mediation being more binding, more acceptable as a solution. So the comment I want to make is add-on. Is it okay to have mediation arbitration or argument? Is it okay to have arbitration mediation? Some of us are stuck. Oh no, once I'm mediator, I cannot be arbitrator. Or once you're arbitrator, you cannot be mediator. Today I'm here to challenge you. Are you sure? Are you a mother and a lawyer? Are you also a daughter? Are you also a sister? You are not restricting yourself from those stages, right? Are you? Then who are you to define yourself? So I will stop here with my introductory comments by making you think about this. Please listen to this very important point. It's not the story that other people tell you that is important. It's the story that you tell yourself that is important. How are you defining yourself? Within the realm of mediation, but also outside in life generally. Who are you? Recently in a case in the US when I was mediating in Central Valley, California, marriage, nothing to do. I don't take many marital conflicts just because of my preference. But business dispute, had a land dispute, 1,000 acres in farmer community and all of that, typical disputes. So I'm not going to bore you with the facts. And one party meeting with me privately, he said, you know where the mistrust started? I said, I can figure it out. You were brothers and cash transactions, you bought separate business. And he said, no, no, no. I am married. So we're cousins, not cousins, distant relatives. I'm married to his sister. So we are related to my marriage. And he said, I made a mistake. He's admitting to me in a private caucus. And I made a mistake. I had a brief affair with another woman. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this was commercial dispute. I'm back into marital conflict. What's going on? But then what he said next was powerful. A client sitting in front of his attorney telling me in a private caucus, in a commercial conflict in in Central California, is telling me the following. Listen to me. He said, sir, I made a mistake. And my wife forgave me, my partner forgave me. But there's a problem. Look how deep he went. I cannot forgive myself. And that is where I'm stuck. So the reason I'm making you think about this is, how are you defining yourself can be more important than how others are defining you. If you have an affair, you're not falling. You're not worrying about falling under people's eyes. You will, that's okay. The real question is, have you fallen in your own eyes? So let's go to the 5 themes very briefly. I am left with 9 minutes. And let's go.
We have more, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'll try, sir, and then we'll go to Q&A. Number 1, can we jump in? And please stop me anywhere if you have questions, themes, comments. But sir has alluded to jokes, so we will do a question and answer. Basically, we're done with lecture after this, then we can have an interactive session and hope we can all engage with it. So, before I answer each one of this, I'm going to make an exciting announcement, which is the following. Our society is going through 5 issues right now. When I say society, global village, right? We're all together. Remember we're one. So America, Trump, US, France, you name it. Modi ji. None of them is outside of us. This is part of us. If you think deeply, they're part of what a human being is.
Vasudev Kutumbakam.
Right? There you go. And they're part of who we are. So they represent part of who we think, who we are. And if they do, then we have to understand who we are to understand them. Right? So let me give you 5 issues we're facing with and how, being a mediator, we're in a better spot to understand it. I'm not saying to resolve it, just to understand it. So if we are mediators as a class, as a group, as a society, as an organization like Maadhyam, then we must be better. Why? Because we are better placed by God, His Almighty, or by His society, or by the grace of people like Mr. Chandok to be able to understand what's happening in the world. So please do not think if Delhi still doesn't have high-end commercial cases going to mediation, then we have failed. No, my friends, my colleagues, my elders, we have not failed. I'm going to declare that we have not failed. Why you have not failed? Because you can understand how mediation overall is helping the global thinking. Shouldn't that be our job? Our job should be at 35,000, the metaphor from the airline industry, 35,000 people. Why are we stuck on what's happening inside Basant Vihar or Defense Colony? Why? We are global citizens. Look at me, I'm here. I spoke in LA 5 days ago, I'm speaking here in Delhi today. And next week when I go back, I'm speaking back in San Francisco. We are global citizens. It's not about one country, right? So question I have for you is the following 5. Think about this. As mediators, we understand the concept of loneliness. The biggest issue right now people are facing is what? People are lonely. Why? Because of this vice that sir has mentioned. Because of this. Why? This makes us think we are together. But what is it doing? It is creating a wall between me and you. Have you noticed? This morning I'm eating breakfast, right? Thanks to the generosity of sir, I'm eating a breakfast at a nice hotel in Delhi. And what am I noticing at the breakfast? How many people do you think have their cell phone? There's a family of 5 sitting down. All 5 of them. All 5 of them are doing this. It's a wonderful looking family. 3 kids, 2 parents, and everybody's on their phone. And I walked in dressed like this, right? And I'm thinking, यार टाइम लगाया क्या होने में, कोई लोग देखेंगे उसे. Nobody noticed. Why? We are lonely precisely because we are stuck. It is connected to my second point. Please, just 5 quick points on this. Attention. Because our attention has been diluted to a few seconds. You have heard the word reel, right? Reel? Reels. Instagram reel, YouTube reel. Even yesterday I was just sharing phone number with someone and the person says, you have Instagram. I said, yes, but don't tell me to open it because it takes forever. But the point here is, what are we stuck with? We are stuck with 60-second version of ourselves, reels. Life is not 60 seconds. On this trip I had the luxury, pleasure, privilege, honor, blessing to interview some of the masterminds of India because I'm working on a book on leaders of India. Some masterminds, right? And I hear their stories for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and I'm like, I want this story to be told to the world because the best leaders are produced by India. Literally, look at Google, look anywhere, not just tech industry. Look at prime ministers of different countries. We had British prime minister who had a heritage in India. I happen to be the youngest person on a jam panel by many margin. Like most of my colleagues are 30, 40 years older than me. But the first Indian born, right? Nothing to do with me. No, my friends, no. I respect. Why? Because I happen to be born in this dharti, which had a blessing that has given to me. It's nothing to do with me. It's the privilege of being mentored by people like you. Attention. Why am I sharing this with you? When you have a client, you're working with 2 issues. So I'm teaching you through spiritual, philosophical lens today, if I may. That is, your issue is not domain knowledge primarily. Sometimes, of course, we need it. Like insurance industry, like insolvency matters. There's a lot. There's a whole book written on insolvency recently, but I think it just is basically a calling. But let me go back and make you think. What you're dealing with a person who is lonely, who is suffering, and who doesn't have an attention span. And on top of it, you're dealing with someone who has information overload. Every time they open up internet or TV or talk to someone, everybody knows everything now. There's no humbleness. Everybody knows everything. Why? Because we have Google. My son is sitting in LA, right, and texting me because I made a comment recently about how many faiths are major faiths. There are 5 major faiths in the world. And he happened to Google it. He went to Wikipedia. He said, Dad, you're wrong. There are 6 major faiths. And I'm sitting in the plane negotiating with my son. Son, there are 5 faiths. 6th are number of people who are non-followers. They are not a faith. They're the people, you know, one of the largest categories people don't believe in religion, right? They're also expanding. So I said, son, but how do I negotiate with him over a text message sitting in a plane? Talk to me when I come back. But look how internet is changing us. So that brings me to information overload, which is leading us to the last 2 points. Is breaking our relationships. And then as rightly mentioned by Mr. Chandyo, it comes down to one simple point. We are losing the art of communication. We're losing the art of talking to each other. We're losing the art of deep listening. In a country which has taught listening, which has taught non-violent understanding, which has taught the world how to think, how to react, we're losing it all. Why? Because we are following the glass screen on the other side and we think they have the answers. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many suicides happen in America every year for what? For depression. For depression. Yes, our country has a lot of issues. I know that. We're not perfect. We're not perfect. But you have one thing that please don't lose. You have community. I felt like I was with the family last night coming back to dinner. That's the biggest gift. I will fly for dinner, sir. I make a pledge here on the camera right now. You invite me for that dinner, I will fly wherever I'm in the world. Even if I'm on some other planet when we go there, thanks to Elon Musk, I will still fly back soon. Why? Because that's the community. One day we're all going to crave because we're going away from each other. So coming back to mediation, why we are talking about mediation and not just commercial mediation, mediator understand these 5 issues that humanity is facing, and through empathy, through listening, through communication, through problem solving, through trust building, and with me, through negotiation ability, you are working with loneliness You're working with depression, you're working with communication, you're working with relationship, you're working with information overload because you're organizing the system. You're working with all 5 of those categories. So please don't limit yourself to commercial matters, insolvency matters, or in US we call them elder case law or environmental matters. That will come. That's the future of India. That is, and I'm with you, we need that. And if you ask me a question, then I'll answer it. But please think about mediation more globally, more holistically. Point number 1, power of pre-preparation. 3 comments to all of you. This is where we connect with parties. Number 1, connection is important. I will come back to it in literally 2 minutes. So please just write down the word connection for me. Number 2, pre-preparation meetings gives you the power of observation. Now, how many of you, I don't know if you do yoga or you do meditation regularly, I hope some of you do, because that's one of the biggest gifts our country has given us, all our amazing spiritual paths, journeys, is if you understand yoga, I prefer to do it almost every day, and I meditate every day, I do my Chapti Sat every day. So when you meditate as Sikhs, when you meditate with many of your religious texts, what you notice with me, listen to me carefully please, what you notice with me, the biggest gift that gives us is the following. It gives us the power to observe ourselves. You see, the biggest meditators can do what? They can travel outside of the body and observe themselves, right? That is the biggest gift that sadhus and saints can do, right? The moment you can do that, you can see yourself from outside of yourself, you have attained what? You can come close to nirvana. But like, wait, come back, we are in mediation, we're not in nirvana yet. And when you are in mediation, what can you do? You can observe. Pre-mediation, phone calls, Zoom calls, meetings gives you a power to observe. Then why not take that opportunity, even if it is for 5 minutes? Trust that observation of yourself because it does give you another gift. Let's move to point 2, party autonomy and the future. Persuasion. Should I give parties full power to decide? Or should I persuade them? Should I guide them? अरे भाई इकट्ठे ही मिलना है, we have to meet together in a joint session. अकेले नहीं मिलना, not in the private caucus. Why? Because I want you to see each other. Now I know many of you practice having speaking to you, joint session mediations. And please don't lose that out. That is the biggest, most beautiful art. But some of you have learned that private caucus is also very important. 2 comments on both of them, let's move on. Number 1. Do not be a slave. I will use 2 different words, whichever you like, please borrow and attach to your mind and memory. Either you should not be a slave, that's a provocative word, so you can think, or, let me use the other word, which is more collaborative, don't be married. Now some of you think, oh, slave is better, let's not talk about marriage. But whichever way you are, don't be married to what? To one way or the other. That's my only request to you. Don't think I will always start in a joint session, I will never do caucus. What have you done now? Now you have attached yourself to a way of thinking. And my colleagues, what is mediation? Mediation is flexibility. Mediation is thinking on your feet. Mediation is adaptation, adoption. Then we are losing the very premise. When Singapore Convention was signed, somebody asked me, a journalist came and asked me, sir, what is your opinion? And I know sir was there, I know he took a delegation to Singapore, but this was after that, back in US. And I said, look, convention is great, I'm always for promotion of mediation. But one thing I am missing in the convention, in that text, and it is mentioned, it's not explored completely, and I wish it was, is the word culture, is the word local traditions. Who am I to teach how Bhopal, how Nagpur, how Delhi, how Mumbai should mediate? Who am I? There has to be a local flavor at the minimum, but more importantly, local culture, regional influence. If JP Singh sir is mediating in Samadhan, right, in High Court, you think I can come fly from jams in US and tell him how to mediate? Absolutely not. His years of experience, hours of service, who am I? Look at the clients he's dealing with. Look at my clients. I would be a fool to even tell him this is how we do it in the US. So today I'm not here to share with you how we do it in the US. I'm just sharing my global learning, speaking in Brazil, speaking in Kenya, speaking in Japan. This is what I'm learning. the overall field of mediation is good. So please, coming back to my point, don't be married, don't be a slave to an ideology, which is, I always will mediate like this or like this. Please be flexible, be open, and my colleagues, let me request you, please challenge yourself. Maybe the very next mediation, do the opposite for 5 minutes. And Sukh Simran told me, I should try to do the opposite and see, am I comfortable? And last night at the dinner, sorry sir, last time I went bring dinner. After this, I'm not bringing Remember, I didn't make promise. I said, sorry sir, I can still bring up dinner. But let's come back. Hey, lawyers, you have to listen carefully. So the question at the dinner, we were talking about marriage. And I said, one of the issues of marriage, I will not mention my colleagues who were standing here, and we had very good fun, like all couples married at least 10 years to our partners, and we were all discussing, and I don't think many of us come back. And the point that I raised was, look, marriage is precisely difficult for one reason, because you're not married to the same person, ever. You're married to an image of a person, let's say in 2000. That person is going to change in 2001, 2002. So evolution of a human being takes place in the last 10, 20 years, and nobody taught us that. What do we, especially in India, what do we say? Jaldi shaadi karo. Expiry age ho rahi hai aapki. Arey wah. What is expiry age? 29 years old. After that, you're done. Oh, and then my mother, let me tell you, I'm sure this happened to you too. My mother, what happens after marriage?
Children.
हाँ, बच्चा कब बहुत होगा? Your mother will never talk to you about these issues, right? Because it's private. But she will break up, jaldi. And then she'll make a promise. Let me tell you, that's a fake promise. What is the promise? I will take care of the child. She did for 3 days. I'm still waiting for mother to, if my mom is listening, mom please forgive me, but I'm still waiting for her complete care. That's the blackmail. But let's come back. Person changes. Person constantly changes. If a person in marriage changes, then why are you afraid to change as a mediator? Who are you to define yourself? That Dr. Singh, Mr. Sukhsimran, yesterday I always mediated in a joint session. So what I'm dealing with you, I'm going deeper here with you, be with me, right? I'm pushing you on your fear of change. Judge Broad, in federal judge in US, says it beautifully. He says, feel the fear, feel it, do it anyways. अपने अंदर observe करो कि मेरे को fear आ रहा है. Fear, what is the fear? That am I changing as a mediator? Well, why? Who defined it? You defined yourself. Chandoksan is not coming. He doesn't have the time to come to your mediations every week. He's not watching you, observing you, taking you and thinking, "Arey, Atul bhai, don't do this." Is he doing that? Tell me. He's not doing it. Then who is doing it? You are doing it. Which brings me to point 3. Negotiating well. Sorry, I'm a little over time.
Doesn't matter.
I learned this advanced mediation and negotiation from Pepperdine. I enjoyed Malibu Beach more than the negotiation.
Feel the fear and do it anyways. Next, ma'am, you're coming to San Francisco. We'll talk about that. With first permission. I'll leave him to discuss. Negotiation is key. 3 tips on negotiation. I think we can all work on becoming a better negotiator. All of us. There's exceptions, of course, which doesn't need to, but we all have to work on negotiation. Why? It's the following. 3 reasons. Number 1, we are in the business of people. That is the hardest business on earth. Somebody talks you right, kya karte ho bhaiya? Don't say I'm a Supreme Court attorney or I'm a lawyer or this and that. Say I have the most difficult job on earth. Why is the most difficult job? Because I deal with who? With people. Why is it difficult? Can anyone answer me now? Let's make it a little interactive. Why is it difficult to deal with youngsters, my younger colleagues? Yes, please.
Different psychologies,
Beautiful.
different experiences.
Absolutely. Very good answer. One more younger colleague. Tell me, why is it difficult? Why is it difficult? You're absolutely right. She opened the path for us. She said different psychology.
Different cultures.
Different cultures, absolutely, ma'am. Anybody else?
Different
Emotions.
mindsets.
Different emotions.
Different emotions.
Different personalities.
Different personalities.
Different problems.
Different expectations, different problems.
Different age groups.
Different age groups.
Different perspective on the same thing,
Absolutely.
same issue, but different perspective.
Absolutely. And what do we do as mediators? We go in a perspective too, right? Arey, I did this case 2 years ago. I know how to do this. I'm a big guy in insolvency, I can do this. But we forget that the new people have showed up. And because of what all of you are saying, because emotions, personalities, it is going to be different. Now yes, some of you have mastered the art of reading. Those are masters. That's why perhaps you get senior advocate designations. Because why? What you have mastered is, you can make a pattern prediction. And you may not even realize it is so automatic. That's the beautiful part. What is a pattern prediction? You see a human being for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you can see in 4 hours where he or she will go. Now that's master. Most of us don't have to go there. But the point here is, negotiation is an art. And it's a difficult art because you're dealing in the business of people, and no two people are the same. Bhai, look at brothers and sisters in a family. Have you ever seen two brothers, even twins, thinking the same way? Or brother and sister? No. Have you ever found two people with the same hand? Why do you take fingerprints? Can you believe it? Can you believe it? 7 billion of us have unique fingerprint. Think with me, unique fingerprint. That tells you there are 7 billion world views. That's the world. World views, how we see the world. So negotiation, tip number 1, observe people. Watch people. Work with people. Work on people's skills. Tip number 2, there's always an art of understanding the dance of anchoring. What is anchoring? Anchoring is, remember starting high? What do you need? I need 10 crore. What can they settle for? 1 crore or 50 lakhs. But why is starting at 10 crore? You know that. We start high so we can anchor high. We can bring the party. We all do that. Lawyers are masters in it. People pay us big money for that, right? Why are you billing so much money? So the reason is you have to understand the psychology of negotiation. Somebody used the word psychology, right? Psychology of negotiation is, this will never go away. Let me make a big, bold prediction. There will always be anchoring. Always. The question is, how much to anchor? So what is my guidance to you? Coaching. Coach the parties. Talk to them privately for 5 minutes. Now coming back, remember, to pre-mediation meetings. Usme pucho, where do you plan to start? What do you plan to ask? Because if you do it then your mind is prepared. Hey, yaar, it's a 1 crore case to have. That is going to be disrespectful. Okay, can I tell the last point? This is the most important. Trust. Trust. Please listen to me. Negotiating well depends upon just one. If you today you don't remember anything, nothing. Remember this one word, trust. And we Indians are master in it. Master. Why? Think with me. Why? Yes, very good. We trust. Very good. Let me ask you again. Why are Indians good in trust? Relationship, very good. Still, one of the biggest countries in the world with most population and most population, perhaps with joint families. Still. Yes, I know it's changing, but still. Why else trust?
We are habit of living in community.
Community, okay man, right, trust. Somebody else, why trust?
Interdependence.
Interdependence, absolutely. And what does interdependence
It's very
push us?
comforting to trust.
Huh?
It's very comforting.
It's
It gives you comfort.
Can I say something?
In trust.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely. Can I say something in that? Can I say something in trust? Is comforting is there. I'm still looking for one word.
We look for validation as a community.
Arey bhai, this country will not exist if we don't trust each other.
Yes.
It works on trust. I mean, look at the traffic, right? I was talking to Amina ji, right? Listen to me. This is one of the, and it's your point, so I'm going to give credit to you. It's one of the only countries in the world, perhaps, there could be a couple of examples from countries in Africa too, but it's not about how I drive. I'm trusting that the buswala will not hit my car if I go this direction. Look at the trust I have. I'm trusting my life on how the other person is driving.
Maybe the word is humanity between all of us.
Yeah, give me one second, just give me one second. Let's explore trust a little more. I trust my doctor. I trust the train system that can be 10 hours, 20 hours. One day I remember AP Express, I used to go to my law school in Hyderabad, AP Express, right? Andhra Pradesh Express. One day I'm calling my father at Delhi railway station. He goes, what happened? I said, Dad, you're wrong. The train is on time. You said it's going to be a few hours late. I barely made it. He said, no, wait. I said, why? He said, check it, make sure it's the right train. I said, it says AP Express. And the conductor comes out with a red flag, red flag. And he says, ये ट्रेन अभी मत चढ़ना, ये कल की ट्रेन है, 24 घंटे बाद आ रही है. This is the country. It's 24 hours late. When you go to Japan, if a train is late by more than 3 seconds, they apologize. But what does that do? Be with me. What does that do? It's not a bane on India. It's the bane on Japan. Because up Kalko, if there any meeting somebody's late, what happens? They don't know what to do. They're flustered. And look at us. We are by very nature flexible. But if we are not flexible, we cannot exist.
We believe in collaboration and relationships also.
From a very young age, right? My father, I'll give you a personal example. My father has really influenced me, son knows him very well. And shaped my whole career, right? He took me to, is it Vigyan Bhavan, the big Vigyan Bhavan? So I was 14 years old when I went to Vigyan Bhavan. My first law conference was when I was 14 years old. Why? My father was speaking that day. Look at his teaching. And here I am nervous, shaking, sweaty, sitting there among all the adults. There are like thousands of people. I think there's a huge Vigyan Bhavan, right? International law conference. And I don't know what everything is. And then I saw my father stand up, gave such a terrific speech. And we judged. And this was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and my father was being judged. He was the only Sardar, only Sikh man among 1,450 people. So some people started smiling at my father about it. But when he spoke, pin dropped silence. Did that shape my mindset? And I'm thinking as a village boy looking up, first time in Delhi, maybe second time, first time in Vigyan Bhavan. And I'm thinking, if my father, my honorable father who served as principal of Khalsa College, founding director of Pana Institute of Law, teacher of many judges from Punjab and High Court, if he, look at his teaching, he didn't say me anything, sir, you must speak like this. Nothing, none of that. He led by example. He showed me that day, that one day, you too can speak before 100 people. And do not go down look. Coming back.
It's the mindset.
Trust. The gift he gave me, everyone, is the gift of trust yourself. So before I go to humanity, you want to negotiate well. Each one of us, please listen to this, has a different way of negotiating. None of us have two ways of same way of negotiating. So you have to trust what? You have to trust your way of negotiating to be able to succeed as a good mediator. Period. Not taught in our mediation trainings, isn't it? We are taught follow this Joe law, follow getting to yes, follow Harvard method, Pepper's method. No, none of those methods will work. What is going to work is your method. Is Gita's method, Madam Mitchell's method, right? Ms. Kaur's method. Gandhiji's method. What is that method? That is your unique method. If you have practiced in Supreme Court, you have litigated for 30 years, trust that wisdom. You must have come across 10,000 plus clients in life. You must have figured out a way to navigate them and negotiate with them, and that negotiation is what is going to make you an amazing mediator. Last 2 points, my colleagues. We're moving on to difficult parties, difficult domain, difficult process in the case. Couple of tips, that's it. We have discussed this previous training, so I won't take your time, but some advanced thinking to make you think. Number 1, difficulty exists in definition. Can I challenge you? Forgive me. How to pronounce this? Forgive me. Difficulty is where? It's where? Difficulty, sensitive movement. Right reason is in the mind. Can I share a personal story? I've shared before, so forgive me. Some of you have heard before. Forgiveness is also an Indian concept, you know that, right? माफी मांगना इंडिया से आई है. So even though we also taught the world how to be good in taking a shower every day, people did not. Indians taught us to be. Let's come back if you look into it. Let's come back to forgiveness concept, but before that, mind. Are we stutterers, stammerers, and or confusers? Right? Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I stuttered for 10 plus years. And you know what happens to India when we have special needs. We don't say, these are changing now, we actually have more special needs. What do we say? We say, three people came to me. In fact, someone who knows a big company, his son was a colleague of mine, studying law, I won't mention the company, big company in India, publishing company. His son was a student. He came to me and said, "Tu kya kar raha hai उसको यार? मेरे से नहीं होगा. You can't even speak, तो बोल नहीं सकता है यार. तू डरता है तो तू तुलाता है, that's the word, तुलाता है. And I was really stutter. And then that was not the bad part. The bad part was when I'm stuttering and you hear what? People laughing. Oh my God, that hits you hard. That hits you hard. Then I went to my guru. I told you about my guru, my father. And what my father said? Arey yaar, big deal. You will stop tomorrow. No therapy, nothing. They said, Dad, how will I stop tomorrow? He said, look, listen to this. This was, I don't know, 30 years ago now. So please listen to this. This is a very powerful concept, which I did not realize how powerful this was given to us. Sometimes our parents are the best blessings we have. And we struggle with it, we fight it with an ideology for the rest of our lives. Till they're too late, or they're aged, or they're even expired, and then we realize what they taught us. Hey yaar, my Mataji told me that. I just didn't listen. Coming back, you know what he said? He said you stutter because somewhere in your mind you have given more power to the people who are listening to you than yourself who is speaking. Listen, that's all my father said. No therapy again. So listen to me. Who has the mic right now? In America there's a joke. I have the mic, so I have what? I have the power. But in my mind I had given that power to other people. So if you have anybody who stutters, talk to them about power. It's not going to fix everything, but it's the beginning of an interpretation of what is the fear of public speaking. Because public speaking will give power to others. That's what we do. So coming back to fourth point, difficult people, difficult domain, difficult process. Number one question, and the only question I'm going to make you think is, who defines what is difficult? And what happens if you actually define it as difficult? Have you put yourself, please listen, have you put yourself in the prison of your own thinking? अगर आपने जेल बना दिया, अपने आप को उसी जेल में डाल रहे हो. किसने बनाई जेल? खुद. You are making it. Nobody else is taking. You make the prison. And not only that, you're constraining the boss. You're making it tighter. अरे यार, you know, बहुत ही difficult case है. वो रो रही थी यार. Okay, haven't you seen a crying party before? Then what happened? So that's number one. Now this is an intellectual discussion. I know I'm making a perspective comment here. But number two, my only tip to you, and I don't know Mitch, there are people in this room who can tell you way more, so I won't go too far into that. Because they have way more experience than I do. Not just in mediating in life itself. So I'll let them talk to you about it in Q&A. My only tip to you, please listen. This is Indian wisdom. Indian wisdom is what in Hindi we say, समय के साथ. समय के साथ क्या होता है? समय के साथ सब कुछ. That one line has a wisdom for the world, not just for Indians. We forget it because we are Indians, so we think, Indians was great. Now people like you live outside, you reflect back. समय के साथ सब कुछ ठीक होता है, which means that have faith in time and God. Have faith in time. So when you're meeting a difficult quality, what's your number one resource? Take time. When anybody pushes you to make a quick decision, this is your new salary, accept it. Buy this car, limited time offer, New Year's offer. What are they doing? If you look at it, it's a time negotiation. Limited time offer means what? 3 दिन का offer है. आज ही कार ले लो 20 लाख ऑफ. What do you think? अरे यार सेल लगी हुई. What is sale? आपकी जेब से पैसा जा रहा है. Somehow they can make you think it's a sale. And then they say what? Savings. You're saving 20 lakh. Are you saving or are you spending 50? Not everybody is blessed, like Sanjog sir, that, we can just buy a car.
And judge is giving us a tough time, we take time.
See, she already knows. Last comment, enforcement and binding this. So, now I will give you three quick nuggets, not in examples. So I have not spoken too much about my mediation career and my colleagues because we can talk in Q&A, but let me give you 3 examples.
So one more.
Please.
If you have difficulty in doing it,
G.
then what do you do?
Excellent. See,
You don't have to
thank you
do
for asking.
that.
In fact, my number 1 tip here, if you can, take a recess. That's fine. Prepare yourself. Talk to a lawyer or colleague who knows about that domain. And number 2, now I'm going to little American concept, be honest. उनको बता दो, I don't have that much expertise. You still want to continue with me? I'm happy to. I have a good success rate. I'm a powerful, hardworking person, but I'm not an expert in insolvency matters. Chandok sir has much more experience. You can go to him, right? But please, but if you want to give it a try, I'm still going to try. But I need to have a meeting with him before I can come back. I will do that. I will not fake it. That is one thing I will tell you as my colleagues. ये चीज मैंने नायक सीखी है, सीधी सी बात. Again, humbly speaking to all of you, I've learned this. In India, we are very polite. वो politeness के पर्दे के पीछे ना हम pressure डालते रहते हैं. Listen to me. Can I give a couple of examples out of mediation? आप किसी के dinner पे जा रहे हो, आपने date है. What is our politeness? अरे आप 5 मिनट में आ गए. Knowing your GPS is telling 35 minutes. Why can't you say I'm 35 minutes out? If that's what Maadhyam made me really think. And then they told me, I never thought, because you are taught to be polite. You're taught to be polite. Now everywhere, politeness has a purpose. It dignifies, it gives grace. Sometimes you can balance it out by being more honest. Push again. Change your mindset to thinking you cannot change. You can. Not all the way. Don't go all the other way. Honestly, fuck you, अरे यार, I just graduated from law school. I've never mediated, and this is my first case. Not good for either. But come to the middle ground where you say, I've only done 10 cases in insolvency. I'm not an expert. I'm happy to take your case, but it looks like very complex. If you give me 2-3 days, I'll come back and help you. If you need somebody more urgent, go to JP sir, go to Chandok sir, because I am not the expert. And I think that honesty, again, coming back to my second point earlier, who are you saying that to? To yourself. Who are you becoming honest to? To yourself. Who are you standing up to? Who are you improving image to? To yourself. Isn't it? अब अपनी आंखों में बड़े हो जाओ. Life has no problem. The moment you start trusting, see the biggest people on earth are givers. Ratan Tata ji, right? I admire him for 2-3 reasons. One, he was very gentle. He was very graceful. A lot of money, billionaire, gazillionaire, you name it. I would say trillionaire. But number 2, he gave. Heart of compassion. Yesterday I asked sir a question. Very beautiful answer he gave me. I asked sir, what is the definition of leader? Listen to his answer. Definition of a leader. Who is a leader? You know what sir said? Sorry if I quote. Sir said, a leader, listen to this, you may quote it, but give him credit. A leader is the one who understands the pain of others. The pain of others. And then he stopped. अब मैं सर इससे आगे क्या पूछूं? Finish. आपने कोई काम ही नहीं कर दी. अब मैं क्या पूछूं आप?
Now we can say the real leader.
Right. But look at his answer. Who understand the pain of others. And that's what Tata ji did. He gave millions. Yeah, we have other people who never give. You know how many law students sir is helping? Some of you may know. I'm sorry sir, I'm embarrassing you. You know how many law students is helping? I'll stop after this. Judge Weinstein, I'm working with him, right? His foundation is right there, Weinstein International Foundation. I hope you come and meet him. I took his permission this morning, early morning phone call, and sir will send you more details. In September, we're planning a trip to San Francisco, and hopefully you can go to the home of Judge Weinstein in a beautiful setting in Napa Valley. If you all come, whoever can come, I know we are all busy and everything. But Sir has given me his promise, he's coming. So just follow him, I would say. Don't do anything in life, just follow him. Anyways, come back. So the point here was the following, to your point, man. If somebody's asking me, I don't have the main knowledge, number one thing I'm going to do is be honest to not them, to myself. And through myself, I'll answer. I'll say, I have the confidence, I have the ability, I've done 10,000, 5,000, 200, 500, whatever that is. Be open about it, be honest about cases, but I have not done more than 5 in this matter. So if you want to go somewhere else, please do, or I can check with the colleague and come get back to you. That's my quick answer, ma'am. So take time, because the biggest stress we put, last comment on this, the biggest stress we put on ourselves is self-generated stress. कोई हमें पास stress नहीं देता.
That will be the trust also in the party.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one very nice point. You can trust you when you're honest, you can trust you. But coming back to the point of humanity, man was telling about humanity, and I promise I'll come back. What is humanity? Humanity tells us, be honest. Right? Tell them what you're feeling, tell them what you, and they'll trust you more too. The biggest stress is जब आप झूठ बोलते हो, what happens with lying or even exaggeration is what? You're putting एक झूठ को कवर करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ता है? Why? Who started that? Yourself. किसी ने कहा है? Have you checked with me मेरे कितनी डिग्री है? Did I tell you how many degrees I've got? Where I've no, not necessary. Why promote yourself? मैंने ये वो है. हाँ, I shared one fact. I apologize. I did share James का because उनका नाम ऊपर है. I just want to share with you, proud Indian, because I'm very proud to be Indian. I'm emotionally deprived of India. Maybe I must have made a mistake last life that God sent me away. But let's come back and tell you last comment I made, and then let's be done. I want to give you 3 comments on agreement, writing agreement. Come on. I did a case in San Diego recently of a Hindu temple, and our temple Pandit was part of the mediation, and we were all very respectful to me. One of them would call me Sardaji, one would call me Sir. We were all very respectful. Throughout the mediation, Pandit ji was very important for me because I wanted to credit him, trust with him, because he trusted me so beautifully. And he would do Hindi. He was speaking very good English too, but he and I were talking Hindi upstairs. They said, "No, Hindi, and then I would talk to Hindi, and at the end, listen, I said, Pandit ji, we have an agreement, 3 days of mediation, back and forth, a lot of parties. In a big temple, very beautiful temple, I'm going to name it out of perspective. It was published, so it's public news, but I'll stop here. I said, Pandit ji, agreement लिखे here. Look at my question. And what did he say? नहीं. And I was smiling because he knew my answer. He knew I knew what he's going to say next. Because I've done other cases of Indian communities, Gurdwara cases here, other cases. So I knew that in many of Indian religious cases, in the very end, they like to do a prayer, not agreement. Even though they're in California, right? What did Pandit ji say? We will do a prayer. एक पूरा करेंगे पूरी, आधा घंटा लगेगा, special prayer होगी. I said, okay, Pandit ji. And then he said, you have to be present because I want everyone to notice you are part of the prayer. I said, it's my promise. Even if I drive for 6 hours, because the traffic is very big between these 2 cities, but I lived everywhere. And he said, that's my promise. And he did. He did the prayer. No agreement signed whatsoever. अभी तक 6 महीने हो गए. No phone call, which is good news. No phone call. That's example 1. Example 2. Recently did the 1,000-acre dispute in Central Valley. How many agreements have made them sign? 3 already. Pre-mediation agreement. It happened to be twice in California. I'm sorry to share with you, but sometimes our culture is good too, but it has some problems too. Parties don't pay. They lie to you. So our 2 big parties, they owe me thousands of dollars, haven't paid. What do? Litigate against them? Apne bhai yaar. So I let it go. But then I learned from my mistakes. What is my mistake? I did not collect the check in advance. So I have a new policy, just recently adopted. And my recent policy is, you have to pay advance, and if you don't show up, this much percentage will be forfeited. And the account will go to trust account. It's a bank account, trust. आपको पता है. So, but see, Jyoti sir and others are doing it for years. But मेरे जैसा भी सीख रहा है. So I'm starting in that field that my own people cheated on me twice now in California. So I said, okay, So what did I make them do? Sign agreement. Pre-mediation agreement. Then I made them sign a fee agreement. Then I took a check from them. And now are they going to sign it? Look, temple, same community, Indian community. Farmers, same community, Indian community. But two different cases, two different agreements. One, a lot of paperwork. One, no paperwork. So you have to be flexible what an agreement looks like. You cannot define they must sign paper or they don't sign papers. I agree. That's
Sir,
my
I
point.
have a question.
Please.
In this commercial world, then people don't trust each other most.
जी.
And what I believe is that India में भी सब चांदनी चौक चले जाओ और सदर बाजार चले जाओ, जबान पे बिजनेस होता है. जो agreement बनता है, what I say is that agreement is made for the lawyers and the courts.
Beautiful concept. Thank you.
But in this commercial world, when the parties are at variance,
जी.
how do you ensure that
जी,
गुरुद्वारे
जी,
के आपके
जी.
पंडित के केस में आपने बताया,
Absolutely.
how do you enforce it tomorrow after spending
Excellent point. So we, sir, that's a great point, sir. अतुल जी.
Yeah.
अतुल जी, आपका जो point है ना, it's very good point. The reason is two answers to it very quickly, and then my esteemed colleagues will give you an answer. You always want to follow a customary practice in the market itself. I did research, temple disputes. Some mediators before me also did not have agreement. So there's a customary practice that in temple disputes you don't have the agreement, but please listen to me. The agreement was not signed by who? By the Panditji. But who were they working with? Lawyers, American lawyers. Do you think I had a memorandum of agreement, an understanding, not an agreement, memorandum of understanding where the lawyers looked at it? Absolutely. So I covered your point. Tomorrow if they say there was no mediation, no. We have a summary of the mediation. The lawyers have a copy. I summarized it. Lawyers signed it. I signed it. Panditji did not sign it because he doesn't have to be part of it. But the lawyers will drag it. So I have to follow very tactfully where cultures, customers, and where lawyers. So you have a very good point, Atul ji, which is when it comes to commercial matters or matters of insolvency, where you have to follow a practice of legal practice of signing. Please do not, I'm not saying never sign an agreement. I'm just giving you a cultural example. Can I give you one more example? This is a very provocative example. You will like this. So my mentor from US, mentor from India, they're in the same age group, in the same giving status as all of the generous people. Mr. Chandriyuk and Judge Weinstein, very lucky man. And Judge Weinstein did a case with Ashwari tribe in Peru. Lima, Peru is a country. वहाँ tribe है Ashwari tribe. सुनिए. So sir, आपका question है. Look, he's flexibility, and he has done Bosnia dispute to billions of dollars. He's all over working. He's right now. I was talking to sir, doing very high profile case in US. So coming back, Peru, Ashwari tribe का एक बात थी. You can mediate with them easily, but you cannot make one mistake. And they will tell you what that is. You cannot look into the eye of the chief. Are you with me? So Judge Weinstein said, and in my mediation, I was not there, his story, so please give me reference to him and demonstrate him. And he said, so Simran, 4 days later, when I finished the mediation, lawyers on board, a big oil company from US that did the disaster, oil leaked and all of that, did the disaster, agreed to pay damages and apologized to the tribe, was their representative, lawyers and all. But he said, the only thing told me was do not look into the eye of the chief, except, remember there's always deception, when you have an agreement, he stands up and he comes to you. Then you can get up and look at it. He said 4 days, he stand there like this, 4 days. होते हैं जो महात्मा होते हैं जो रूहें पहुंच जाती हैं, don't have to look in your eyes. They can hear everything. And the 4th day when I settled, and looks like he was pleased, he stood up and then looked at his people. Can I now look at him before getting killed here? And they all said. And then he got up. He said, And I did not know to shake hand or not. So he gave a hug, looked in the eye. And through translation, what he said is, proud of you. And Judge Weinstein was whisked away. Now my question to you, do you think that was what he did? It was what he did. In front of the chief of the tribe, an oil company agreed to give. So there's no agreement, but there was a written indignation. Because lawyers are present. What did they admit? We made the mistake. We agreed to pay them billions of dollars. And Judge Weinstein mediated and we have settled. And of course they have to do one thing about the liability. We don't owe any more liability in future. This is the final, you know the clause, final settlement. So Judge Weinstein said, it's not about mediation agreement, it's about following that practice. So don't you try inter transfer to them. I will follow the local practice.
I have a question.
So you still look.
You don't look satisfied.
Sir, you want to comment on this?
No, let him be satisfied. Tell him what he will.
I want to invite others to comment on this question.
Yes,
of agreement. Anyone?
Mumbai, that's it.
Lots of money and getting cash. No return. The man says, when will you return it? So and so time. There's a person who will land up at your place at that time and you have to return. It works.
It works. But yesterday it happened to me, my laptop, I had an Apple, something happened to the plane, the screen cracked. So I called US, I said, Apple repair, here go, and it takes, I don't want to lose my laptop. My biggest thing is timing. You know, it's not about repair, free repair. So I called, somebody gave me a number, this is the best part of Delhi. So I called the lawyer, I said, help. He said, there's only one man in Delhi, he gave me the number. I can tell you all the number. He said, this guy is 100% legit, he will pick up the laptop from you, deliver it, they go. No agreement. I did read on cash. Not even 24 hours. I can't believe how did it. 12 hours later, laptop comes last evening when sir was asking where am I, why am I late. I was picking up my laptop and making a cash, and whatever agreement we had over the phone, I paid him. Right? This doesn't happen in many places. I was not just surprised, I was like, wow. If Americans just get to know where to repair a laptop, they'll be hoarding here.
So you still follow the trust pattern of India?
Absolutely. I hope
No,
so.
but I have a question on this.
Ji.
When, like, taking the example, we are giving an example, this is transacting business.
Ji.
This is not where you are trying to resolve a dispute.
Ji.
So when you resolve the dispute without the party signing, of course, it is working, that's fine. But you say only the lawyers are signing and the mediator is signing. There is no party here in the agreement.
Two points are made. What happens when you trust parties? Or let's rechange the word. Let's expand the discussion from signing to a little bigger idea. What happens when you delegate something to someone? Sir has many juniors. Some of you are sitting here on the dais and you were sir's juniors. I know. Now I know. I'm jealous. Next life. God, if you're listening, I'm negotiating with you what I want to be. And so I'm asking you now, he must be delegating to his juniors. But what does the delegation does?
He has trust in them.
Huh? Trust.
He has trust in them.
नहीं, do they feel like और सर ने केस ले लिया कोई बात नहीं कोई टेंशन नहीं or do they feel responsibility?
They have to live up to that trust.
You see, life is about perception. It's not reality. Perception. Do you know right now we can't even tell the color of something. There's a whole scientific literature right now. We see this thing, this air purifier right now. Most of us can claim it's white and grey or something, right? There's a whole literature right now that says color is in the mind. There's a whole literature. You know, I am partially colorblind, so I have issue with the red and the yellow or something. And 1 in 4 men, women are better. Yeah, I know you know that. Women are better. But 1 in 4 men are colorblind. I am one of them. And what is the issue? I cannot, so when the light changes on a traffic signal from yellow to red, I have no difference, they look the same to me. So how do I tell? I tell middle one light and upper one light. But I have managed to do that. But if you think, then how come you can tell me that's red or not red? How can you? There's a whole literature out there. Perception becomes reality. So, if client perceives that you have given them the power to decide, and they have decided, that may have more hold, long-term agreement, than any legal document you push them to sign. Right? Mediation per se can never be as binding, we're trying to make it, as a litigation. Then why are we mediating? We're trusting, we're putting the responsibility. Our whole idea is it's not about paperwork, it's not about legal issues. It's about, as Sir said, communication. So I want you to comment on this, please.
In every part of the world, you ultimately trust people to what they agree to do, they will do. Let me start with something very smaller to convey to even people who are not part of the world. You trust.
Very good. Yeah.
Episode number 6, which is heading the committee to do it. It's a different thing, Atul, that in order to achieve that, she may seek your assistance, somebody else. But she is the one who understands her responsibility. Within herself, she is conscious of the fact that she is accountable for it. To herself, forget Maadhyam. So the question I think we turn around to you start thinking within yourself, am I not accountable to myself? I find no reason to it. But I must negotiate that with myself first. And I am conscious of the fact that the lawyers are going to sign, and I don't think I need to specify, unlike India, in pleadings and reports are signed by lawyers.
Attorney at law has
They tell me that.
Earlier, even India and Hyderabad also used to do that.
Parties sign it, we sign along with them. But in US, he only files an application. It's later on that you are brought in picture. So what is it? It's trust. So the question is that is pending in the High Court for your consideration. The lawyer files a petition in the federal court in US, takes a particular stand. The judge then calls upon this complainant to file a lawsuit. She changes the stand. What will prevail? Obviously, stand she has taken on active. She trusted her lawyer, who did not deliver it. So the necessity of our own coming. And you actually answered the question right in the beginning. That in Chandni Chowk, people, transactions worth crores.
The entire jewelry business is on the Kangadia business.
Yes. Many.
Even after signing agreements.
Let me give you an example of a trust. This is when I'm 76. You all know Urban Land Seating Act here in this country. This gentleman was one of the best brokers of Connaught Place, and all these high-rising buildings were sold by him. When this act came, he had 3 properties in 7 lines. 7 lines, every house would have 2 acres, 3 acres of land. So the law said, after building you can only have 500 square yards. Beyond that will fall to you. So he went to a lawyer like me who filed a civil suit in district court, didn't get any mention. Then he went to JP. JP said, what is this suit going to file? You will file a writ petition first. And he filed a writ petition, he undertakes to withdraw the suit. The writ petition, entire amount is granted. In 18 months, he is able to push the LP out. He succeeded in the writ petition. But not a penny has been paid to him. What is the trust? Then he get it. So he comes for an advice to say, sir, he is not paid, what do I do? 76 people understand what the position is. He's still thinking about it when this gentleman arrives on the scene. That will happen. And tell JP, do you have 1,30,000 in your bank account? He said, yes. This is immediate. Person who owes him money is asking money from him. He still uses it. For what? Because obviously he's an elder person, the aura that he has, he couldn't say no. He goes back home and tells his parents this is what has happened. So he gets a message. What is this? You will not be able to do anything like this. Especially mothers. But after 15 days, he has still trust in him that he is going to do something. He comes back with a bundle of papers and said, child, I could not have given you fee. What you did for me was far ahead of professional fee. I did not even think myself such a service could exist. The way you proceeded in the whole matter, I had not treated that myself. I have got a property for you, a level base, a flat which is already rented, MCD's mutation has been done, your endorsement has been done, that money that I took from you was to get the endorsement of the builder, because there your money was required, I couldn't have made it. He gets it for MCD mutation, he gets as a tenant, he gets the letter of application to him and brings that also. So next month JP starts getting the rent. There was no such agreement ever. It never existed. What was existing? While when he was doing the case, what was existing was there was a trust that he will be paid. It was shaken a bit when nothing was coming to him. It got reinforced in his own mind when he paid him 130. Didn't know what was going to happen, but still knew somewhere he had a trust that something coming to him. Yes. And that trust brought the property. So can I please?
Sir, if I expand it, that's a beautiful example. If we expand the definition, we live on trust. We trust this building will be secure, it will be inside. The entire contract law is on trust. You see, we don't see many places there's a breach. But how many contracts every year are done when there's no breach or there's minor breach, we know that. Minor breach, right? कोई product late हो गया, छोड़ गया. So last comment I want to make, can we expand the definition and have a larger conversation, not just on this one topic. I want you to put again all the 5 things I mentioned in relation to loneliness and the pandemic of focus and the pandemic of information overload and the breakage of relationships and the breakage of communication in society. So hopefully we can have a larger discussion. But one comment I want to make that I did not make earlier, please listen to this one comment. I saw some youngsters grab every opportunity to mediate. You didn't ask me a question, how did you get into James Bond? I'm assuming you asked me that question. How do you, first Indian lawyer, how do you get on funds and gold? I'll give you one simple answer. I took every opportunity to mediate and I could get one answer. You beg, you borrow, you steal, you request, you do everything to take a case, regardless of you getting paid or not paid. Regardless, that is what we call, at least I'm sure you use the word volunteer, is a volunteer work or not. Pro bono, I think we use pro bono. It doesn't matter. If it's a pro bono, you do the same thing, same quality. Why? Because that's, I think service kar rahe ho, maybe that's God's blessing on you that you resolve some prestige. Italy, can I give an example of Italy? My good friend Leonardo D'Urso is the president of ADR World, the largest company of mediators in Italy. 25,000 matters a year, at least he tells me that. Recently published a book, great guy. And Leonardo tells me Italian model is so different in America. See, in America you can make tons of money per day on mediation. Top mediators, Judge Weinstein, I won't give you his fee rate, but thousands of dollars a day. Just imagine success rate like Mr. Chodron and others, right? Italy, you only get paid $200, maximum $300 per day. That's a huge difference. Right? So कितना हो गया 10,000 रुपए 12,000 रुपए. if you're a top lawyer in Delhi, right? You're charging in lakhs and and then I asked Leonardo, but you have a team of 200 plus mediators working for you. How does it work? How can they be top attorneys? He said, when I train them, I tell them one thing. This job is not to make money. This job is to change Italy on your own. So when Chandrosan is leading us through Maadhyam, believe in me, and you are doubting, oh, there's no future of mediation in India, why? Because we never will. That's a wrong question, I think, to think about. It will come eventually. You will make money, and that will come. So if I hadn't slogged in I haven't slogged for 10 plus years. I did mediation in Hennepin County, Minnesota, $0 per hour. Maadhyam County, Salem, Oregon, with Judge Mary James. Judge Mary James, she is very well known in Oregon. She is 5 feet 2 inches. I am 6 feet 2 inches. Right? She's a thin, tiny woman. And you know what she'll say on the bench? Mr. Singh, take this case away and I know you can resolve it. Yes, ma'am. Nobody could say no to her. Sitting judge on the trial court. It's a trial court. You know how many cases I've been for her? Hundreds. Best training. Best training is not with jams when I get paid a lot of money. Best training was Maadhyam County, which is Mary James, when I made exactly $0 per case. But I gave it. So my request to all of you, when Chandrosan says do this case or Samahan or Maadhyam, any case you can get on, please don't get stuck on whether you paid or kitne solve paid. It's not about that. That's the change of mindset we have to have. Because the best of mediators in America, no volunteer work for 2-3 years before they get a single paid case.
Can I respond to this?
Can I just conclude the process? My request, just my proposal, my request to Chandrosan and I say on the policy of solving. Italy has done something, America has done something. I request you, the leaders in this room, I don't have the power, but you know people in this room has power. My request is the following. Make it free for 4 hours. Even 6 hours. And then, so you can make it happen anywhere. Somehow through legislation or talking to the highest of judges, I want you to charge top money. Not, you need those who are top money. There are two benefits of that. What are the benefits? First, you are incentivized. I will do free work for 4 hours.
Parties are serious.
Why?
Because something is coming out of the competition.
Because then they know it's 4 घंटे के बाद
They are invested in it.
they're invested in it. This is a new model we just followed in LA's largest court program, called MCP court program. Very successful, and I can tell you many mediators are blown out of that. Because क्या होता है? When they come to court referred cases are what we call them. 3 घंटे से दे दिए, 4 घंटे. 3 घंटे पे भी कर दिया. Then you still can't resolve it, or you resolved it, but those clients have done what? Build the trust with you. So next time they have a similar case, they'll come to you. So then you start private practice on the side. Sorry, I'm talking about private practice as well, but I thought someone would be
looking forward in private practice.
And this, you have to develop this. I'm developing my private practice right now. I moved from LA, totally new market, Central California. I'm just like many of you, below many of you, trying to start, and I'm loving it. Totally new market, and I'm loving it. But you know what I found? There's a core group of people always who trust you. You have to find that.
I want to give it, name to this service as I feel. It's a free advertising.
I like that. Very good.
It's a free advertising if you are giving free consultancy services in mediation. You are sitting in the middle. First, you are bringing peace, which is giving peace to us also. Sometimes achievement in life. Okay, fine. We are doing well in litigation, but we are not getting peace by winning the cases. The parties are happy, but when you feel the matter is settled with your efforts, I think we feel that it's a Guru's work we are doing. He chose us to do this thing with that achievement, that this blessings of those people also. Secondly, they are the people, they are the real admirers of ours. they will spread the word to everybody.
Yeah, they're
What is
advertisers.
mediation that doesn't work, but yes.
They are their advertisers.
But yes,
And
they are the
And then
advertisers.
can I explain that thought you're saying, beautifully said, Energy, and that is international. Some of you privately ask me how to get cases, let's say London or Paris or Singapore. And I ask you one question. How much time have you invested in London, Paris and Singapore? Simple question. आप सोच रहे हो यार chamber 92 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट में and London will come calling you. Think about it. So what can you do? The next question should ask me these questions, yeah. These are the main questions. Next question should be,
What should we do?
What should we do? Thank you, sir.
My question was about to be that, what should we do differently in India? That you do it in America as a private practice?
I'll go there. Well, let me make it even bigger. One is an India international. So what do you do in Paris, London and Singapore? Can I talk about this? Paris has the largest competition of mediators. I know sir, I don't like the word competition. Let's not be attached to that word right now. It's not about competition. It's about an opportunity for 500 plus students to come from around the world every February, not my words, every year. So next February, am I going to be there? Yes. My investment in Paris. How long? 1 week. Is somebody paying for me? No. Who am I taking? My wife at least? Maybe my family. Why? It's an investment. And it's not 500 students, my friends. Please listen. 1,500 professionals come from around the world, including some of my previous students. And what are they doing there? Are they getting paid? No. Each one of this same law, what are they doing? They're judging. For what? For free. But networking. Then I went to Vienna last year. Please listen to me. Vienna, international arbitration competition always happens in Vienna, right? I went there. How many people come to one room? Do you know? It's the largest gathering of lawyers in one place in the world. This one room contains 6,000 people. 6,000. Law students, and then there are professionals extra. Now, think about the opportunity, and you have the benefit because we look different. Use it. You wear a sari, you wear a pagri, you wear a shirt, use it because you are different. That's, as Veena ji said, that's the marketing. You walking in is free marketing. अरे वो बंदा कौन था यार? They are tired. रिकॉर्डिंग होना थोड़ा खत्म. पूरे लोग टायर हो गए कार देते. हमें कार देने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. भगवान ने कार दे दी है. But what you have to do? You have to show up. You have to show up. You have to volunteer. You have to invest in your time. Paris will invest in you if you invest in Paris.
Yes, Priya.
Thank you.
Meditation, I think you listen to others as well.
No, that's all true.
I was going to say something to you, you said 1 minute, and then we didn't come back to you. So 1 minute, may I just finish?
You need to
India.
you need to apology. I'm so sorry.
I am just saying what you are saying, and I'm saying it in my own way. I was just when you talked about spending, not asking for money or fees, let me tell you, 90% of mediators in India do pro bono. Because they are all court annexed, and they do, whatever they get from the court. And those who do private mediation also, they invest a lot of time, many hours, without charging money, because there's no concept of paying for mediation in India yet. The mindset is not changed or is not come to that point where they say they are willing to pay you for mediation, private mediations, court annexed mediation. When you talk of building trust, believe me, the times have changed in India. Clients have become smarter than the lawyers. They are not willing to pay you upfront. They are not willing to, you don't have the concept of having any signed agreement for fees in India. Very few people would have probably go down and go down and say, it also doesn't work. It's not, you cannot do this. So in India, we are facing a very, very different kind of a situation, challenge. So that you will also mention. Trust factor is very in education. And when you talk about mediation, it's only when they feel that they are going to lose their case that they are willing to think of mediation, particularly in commercial suits. So these are my 2-3 inputs to you, which I think
Let me answer you one more question.
Yes.
Give you something else. Actually speaking, Priya, we are ourselves responsible. Let me give you a very small example of it. For example, in Delhi High Court, the rules say, if I have to supersede Simran as a lawyer, I need no objection. Which I don't do it, the court doesn't insist. So if I go and request him that, Simran, please give me no objection to take over this matter, obviously you tell me what to do. I would then probably persuade, I mean, intentionally using that word, my client to please pay them. It is possible, Priya, that supposing they owe 10 lakhs to him, I will myself mediate and say, okay, give me 8 and I'll go and settle. We are not doing to ourselves, to our own community. That is where it is expanding more and more. On the contrary, we say, oh, अब तुम्हारे पास गए क्यों थे? मुझे तो पहले पता था ये होगा. This is happening. We need to change ourselves from there. If we change that part, I don't think there will be much difficulty.
But the younger generation has completely different set of ethics.
I agree with you.
It's lack of ethics.
But therefore, what legacy you and me are leaving behind if we don't teach them this?
So I will like to say something over here.
Yeah.
So I mediate in Delhi Mediation Center, and we get a mixed crowd of people well-to-do and not well-to-do at all, and they're lawyers. They get pretty upset with the mediators who are able to settle those matters.
Who is this mediation center? Who is he?
Hanji?
Which is this center?
Delhi Mediation Center.
Which is there? Where is it? Tell us now.
Patiala House. So.
Therefore, it's a court annexed mediation in Patiala House.
Yes.
Okay.
So when the lawyers come there, so invariably after the opening statement, I talk to the lawyers and check with them if they have been paid, or I tell them how to take mediation fee, how do they charge. So because lawyers themselves are shy of charging their clients for coming to mediation, so you've got to tell them, well, mediation doesn't mean that you don't charge, because this is, you are reducing the time period to 90 days, something which would go for 10 years. So this is your effort. You got to be, tell your, you got to tell your clients that, well, I am going there not just to, hang around and you are the person doing the job. It is, I am supporting you to resolve this matter here, which would have taken a lot of time, a lot of money would have been spent, and it was unpredictable what you will get. So here you got to, honor yourself. So I help the lawyers understand that, so that they respect mediation when they come next. So it is our job as mediators to be open about it, that how do they charge mediation fee as a lawyer, which I think somewhere it is not being spoken about, unless it is a,
I don't know whether you are aware of it, but I am conscious of it because I have done 2 matters where the client's documents were with the lawyer. The lawyer had asked for fee for mediation, was not being paid. The matter goes to complaint to Pana. So I had then also requested Bar Council of India, there is time for you to issue a circular to say mediation is a structured, recognized legal process. So charging there is not that he's doing a crime or something. So our problem, that's what I'm saying, is self-inflicted wound on us.
Absolutely. And as a
Be
mediator,
nice
we are
to do that.
responsible to
Not
make
I'm
them
able to-
aware of it.
I'm very happy that Priya client has shifted to me. And instead of saying Priya has done the best, thank you for coming here, that's okay. Instead of going back to Priya probably to get some tips that she, her mind on a brief could be working differently than my mind now. But that collaborative effort is not there. So in my set of mind, as we just talked, we are thinking what? She is to
So mediation
So if that
advocacy
exclusion goes away,
is very
you
important.
will see all these problems can be looked at. I don't find any reason why we can't look at it.
3 moments, really thank you for.
I have one question. I learned actually from Pepperdine, only from Effect and the professor. The thing is, they taught us that the authority of mediator is also plays a very important role in the settling of the matter. So initially I did not understand the point, what authority, authority is entirely different. But I realized after my experience, authority at Barca and authority in your own personality plays a very important role. In one, I just would like to, share one of my experience because
Please go
I
ahead.
think Professor will connect with it because he's from that background. where-
Doctor, no more professor, just doctor.
I like that my tongue gives very nice feel when I see the same professor. Doctor, is a,
Or Sukhsinder.
Okay, if you like it, doctor. with-
I actually like Sukhsinder.
It's a beautiful Simran, Sukhsinder.
Yeah.
So, the
He
thing-
says Sukkaran Likha.
Yeah.
Phil Likha
His
Simran.
name is like that, chanting for yourself, Sukhsinder. And the thing is, in fact, one of the battles that was difficult in my life, it was a purely for the next mediation. That was from the two Chaudhurys from Bhagwat side. And now I'm very well experienced in age and 10 years, 12 years before, Justice Mishra has sent a mandatory to me. Okay, Leela Singh will take care of that. My looks was very tiny. I'm just talking about the inner self and the outer self. How these two things contradict in the eye of the parties. Tiny girl, shy, little shy.
Judgment.
And so they were judging me like this, कि हम तो उसको बड़ा बना के दिखा देंगे. The thing was, they used to come with a lathi in their hands. So पहले मैं भी डर जाती थी एक आध बंदा जाए मेरे सर पे. And what there was a undivided property of brothers. Then there was a dispute of a son, and I was asking property for the grandson. Because the girl was separating from her husband, so always in Chaudhary there was separation of property and everything. So what they said to me directly, मैडम क्या बात कर रही हो, गोली चल जाए इस बात पे, और पहली गोली तुझे लगेगी. And that was I was sitting inside the apex corner of the country, and I myself felt so unsafe कि पहली गोली मुझे ही लगेगी. So that's why I'm saying the authority where it comes, because I'm also from that same DNA, same clan. So I took it. कि ताऊ पहली गोली तुझे लगेगी. He said how? Because it comes the culture and the authority together. कहते कैसा लगेगी मुझे, मैं कि भी बड़ा होगा लड़का, सबसे पहले तुझे मारेगा. जब ये जाएगा इधर उधर कि मेरा बाप और मेरे बड़े बड़े आदमी हैं, so the settlement this doesn't work. I learned so much in paper. I mean, असली सी ये कहा कि मैंने मालिकों को ज़्यादा सोचा because that global work doesn't work here. You are a mockery out of our local people. When you are sitting with them, you have to behave like that only. You have to show that I'm part of you.
Absolutely.
You cannot show I'm a Supreme Court
Treat them as
lawyer
to how
and I'm
they
this
need
and
to
that.
be treated.
You have to behave like that. If I'm sitting with a Caroline person, I behave like a, they are similar culture person. Okay, idli, sambar, I talk like
Can I say one word, women to just.
so the local feeling, because the India, I want to just finish it like that. मेरा experience here है. India में, if we are going for the emotional and matrimonial and family dispute, that only and only emotion and connectivity works. Connection. कितना connection create करा. जहाँ हम trust की बात कर रहे हैं, वो trust बाद में आता है. पहले we have to build a connection with the people. And commercial में जहाँ तक बात आती है, मैंने commercial एक battle किया था, सब DLF का था, that was again feather in my cap, but it was not advertised a lot. It should be. There was a.
Don't wear a cap, how can you judge?
Yeah, I do that, sir, with your impact. This is, sir, I believe in one matter, there was a basically falling under the Maadhyam protection. There was 115 veterans, army officers,
engage one DLM. So this is a good round property. I took sir 2 years to mediate that matter, and meanwhile, subsequently I visited and made myself more advanced mediation into paper dyeing, then forward, सब घूम घाम के आके लोकल लगा के फौजियों की ईगो सेटल की, तब जाके सेटल हुआ। इतना मैंने अपने आप को अपग्रेड कर लिया, and the judges were sending me again and again because you mediated half, you mediated the other part also. 150 full of ego, full of principles and the borderline. The thing is sometimes authority of a mediator works like a wonder. You don't have any knowledge about the mediation, but if you keep authority and you can show it to the party, okay fine, I know better my work, my chair is more authoritative than your dispute. I think this works. In my case, ये काम हुआ है।
I'm writing, my book is coming out in a couple of months with the blessings of thinkers on cross-cultural intelligence. And one of the chapters I wrote is on authority and power. In that chapter I discussed like countries like India, Korea, other countries like Pakistan, working with Pakistan leadership right now. When you grow up in a culture that's hierarchical, that has a structure, authority will always play a role. And especially you being a woman, young woman, or me being a young man and a minority man, whatever you call, you have to assert authority to gain respect in their eyes. So you have absolutely right on all the things you said. I think the comment you made about Pepperdine or other trainings like Harvard or you mentioned Singapore. My comment there is those trainings are a summary of 35-40 years of expertise of people who have done it, and they're sharing their hearts and minds. See, training is not something we're doing for economic empowerment. It is we're doing as a heart thing of love. So as an example, I started State Academy. It's an online resource. 4,000 right now. The charges are 4,000 rupees a month. You know how much money I've spent on it? I can tell. I don't want to tell right now. A lot more to build the whole academy. I've given 25 scholarships. I'm going to open it up. My goal is before I could maybe next 5-10 years, I want to make it totally free for anybody and the best resource on mediation, cross-cultural mediation, negotiation for anyone online to read because people cannot afford to go to that way. See, you were also privileged that you could fly over the world, soak in the beauty and create thoughts. Priyaji, I want to comment a couple of things. Sorry about my not listening. I sometimes don't listen to individual people, every day, and one day I don't want to do. I teach listening though. I need to improve myself, so sorry about that. But I will listen to bigger themes in life. So I will listen to the themes, and then when you mentioned India, you mentioned the word India 3 times. So listen to the theme. You said in India this doesn't happen. India this doesn't happen. One of the chapters I wrote is generalization and stereotype. India is not a small thing you can define. In India this happens. And you should. Lala Ullapalli is doing work in Bangalore. I met her and worked with her in once. She is student and first assistant to my training. And Lala Ullapalli is very, she had a bunch of meeting with him day after tomorrow and with talking and providing and mediation to students. So Shriram Panchu sir or Lala Ullapalli have a very unique way of looking at mediation because of expertise in South India, at least in Bangalore and Chennai. We cannot transform that to Delhi and say India is fighting. It's totally different things. When I have long discussion with Lala Ullapalli, I'm learning Bangalore is a very different market now. As you said, authority changes in Bangalore versus Delhi versus Punjab. Panchayat system in Punjab and Haryana, you know how that is. Do you think a woman can sit there and be the leader of the Panchayat even today? You know what Khap Panchayat is? I wrote my whole essay on Khap Panchayat, an ancient way of resolving conflict. My PhD at NLU is on ancient way, not an American way. Ancient way of resolving conflict. Including, sir, I looked at the diamond traders in India and how they resolve conflict. I looked up Khap Panchayat. I went to Khap Panchayat leaders and interviewed them. And when you were so right, some of them said, "Tu kahan se aaya bhai? Tu छोड़ा तू क्या टाइप तो करनी है? तू क्या कर रही है कैमरा लेके?"
The good thing I settled that matter, sir. After this, कि ये तेरा पुत्र तुझे ही मारेगा. In this language, in Supreme Court, I use that language.
So let me expand. Let me request everyone to do a Q&A. Sir, if we have few more minutes.
Yes, sir, we have.
So we will share our stories. We can all talk and give our explanations. Let me ask if there are any. I have some younger friends here. What questions do you have out of this discussion we had? We all don't know all the answers, but we are here to share in good faith some of our expertise and.
Let me put first question myself, please. at it that if Singapore Convention is in place, and many more countries are today signing and adopting that, though India signed it right on the very first day, that also credit must go to Maadhyam. Was able to reach out to the government, persuade the government. At that time, they could not send anybody from India. They requested the High Commissioner there to sign the convention. United States also signed the convention that way. So what in your view is the effect of not ratifying it, especially with respect to cross-border mediation? And if they were to ratify it, what benefit will be both India and United States?
Okay, I'll be trying to be brief, so if anybody else wants to respond, please do. My quick thoughts, sir, is number one, you brought up something very important earlier. You said we are the reason things are not happening the way they should happen. So that's a very good point. Sometimes I talk in US, just a quick example. I was invited to do a training in a big university in Eastern America, near New York and DC area, Ivy League University. And the person who was bringing me is a mediator. So I'm sharing my personal example. And he said, how much will you charge for the day of coming? So I gave him a number. And he became a good friend. He's a good author of a book too. I wrote a foreword for his book. And he said, Dr. Singh, I said, yes. We have to raise our rates. I'm going to help you. You cannot charge this low. You have to go up higher. I was making a mistake myself of underselling my services within America. So sir has a point. Sometimes we are the one who are responsible. So I think sir, not ratifying the convention is itself us thinking that we may not be ready for commercial conflict. And I think we are.
This is the high time when India should start with the commercial because the multinational companies are coming
Exactly.
in India. Every second day we are hearing the good news.
Exactly. Absolutely. I think you saw it very well said. And actually, I can't say it better than you. India is, our market is opening up. The world is looking at India. How many countries do you think have 6 to 7% GDP growth right now? I mean, you are sitting inside India, you're looking at all the problems. As an outsider, I know it's part of the game. But when I see the opportunity, do you know there are 650 million people in India that are below the age of 30? No other country in the world has that energetic population.
That's why the whole world is jealous of us. You see the last time what has happened. We were all alone. Still we are all alone. But they are coming together through business.
And ma'am, it's not just that.
But we have to know.
It's not just the number of people we have, it's the intellect of the people we have.
Yeah.
You know, I have 3 students right now who are interning with me, all 3 from India. You know, they write such nice emails, sir, please. So I say yes. 3 students, and I can tell you, I've never had an American student. 3 American students, including of the caliber of the Indian National University student who's interning with me. Brilliant. I ask them to research 12 hours later, 14 hours later, and I make sure they don't do AI research. It's just brilliant. It's just the mind, the hard work they have. And we have to recognize that our minds are brilliant. What is lacking though, as sir said, is the belief that I can do international conflict. Right? That's it. If I don't have the belief that I can go on panel in London, or right now China appointed me on an arbitration panel in Gunjal, so I'm on the panel of Gunjal International Arbitration Commission. If I tell China I'm not capable, I have to believe I can do the panel. Right? Of course you need opportunity, you need growth. And quick comment on volunteerness. Please don't think all American mediums are very successful. One of the perception, one. There's a lot of show off. The cream makes the money. The cream. And how many of them are there? You can count them literally. Most mediators are struggling. I'll tell you that too. Most mediators. And many of them are doing amazing volunteer work. But they continue and then they get a good case here and there. It's not that other countries have a train of successful mediation. So we are all struggling. India is a little behind. We're all struggling in that phase. Mediation was not supposed to replace litigation. It was supposed to be a friend of litigation, a companion of litigation. Right? Is it Suranaji?
Yes, Surana sir.
Surana sir, you have a forum, Suranaji. You send me all those messages. Right? Now Sanaji is sending me all the amazing work he's doing. He's working very hard in expanding mediation in the region. Why don't you tell us a little bit of the
Only
recent,
religion is going to Sri Lanka to do it.
so tell us a little bit, I want to hear from you, the recent things you have done, if you can please,
Mike?
in terms of promotion of mediation or ADR.
Yes, yes, please.
Please. Thank you.
Here you go.
Pass it on.
At least there is. Okay.
I'm not doing anything near what you people have achieved in Delhi. My family and my firm has been involved in developing advocacy skills among generations of law students for the last 30 years. So today, it has become what is called the world's largest moot court project. We've had about 40,000 odd students till now participate and win prizes. JP Saab and team was there with me in Sri Lanka. I started working with the University of Sri Lanka, University of Jaffna to develop skills in that war-torn place. And they came and they saw the place. Brilliant students, but they don't know what to do. Future looks bleak for them. So I'm involved the last 3 decades in capacity building.
Right.
And I believe it is very important.
Yes, yes, very.
I have myself been a trainer for almost 25-30 years, but not in law, in communication skills. And what I have realized that, like all of you, that most of the problems are to human beings and not external. Communication, neuroscience research shows is 93% non-verbal. And all us lawyers are working only on that 7%. Whereas the 93%, which is non-verbal, needs to be dealt with. So I am right now on that mission. And I was speaking to Neelamji 2-3 days ago. On 2nd of this last month, the Mediation Association of India was launched by the Honorable President of India. All the dignitaries in the program mentioned that we do not have sufficient material on mediation of Indian origin. We don't have sufficient material on mediation in Indian languages. So we are putting together a program, a competition. Again, competition may not be a very welcome word in the mediation circles, but I am putting together a competition to generate 3-minute videos on various aspects of mediation. The first draft rules are ready. I will be sharing it with some of them to get feedback. As you mentioned, attention spans are very low. Irritability is very high. Relationship is becoming more virtual. These are problems which we cannot wish away. We have to deal with them. So in my own way I am trying to. So maybe by the end of today is first. So by the end of June, we should be launching this competition. Various aspects of mediation. Then we stitch it together as a combined video of 30 minutes. Convert it into different languages.
Right.
That is what right now I am doing on mediation.
Thank you. Man wants to say something.
You know, after you are already very well said, and I think it's a very good thing, it's very innovative thing to do. And this is really required.
In promoting mediation. Susan, you just said that India is, the world is looking at India. India is growing as an economic powerhouse, and they say that by 2047, India will become a developed economy. So why not make India a prominent international area hub? So to achieve that, what in your opinion institutions like Maadhyam and even we as mediators should do to promote dispute resolution, both domestic and global?
Yes. I have an answer for that. Thank you. And you did not. Can I speak in Hindi for a moment? Number one, we have some issue with speaking in Hindi.
No, we have no issue.
No, sir, not issue.
Responding now.
So I made some videos, I was happy to say those ones, sir. I don't need any composition for them. 3 minute videos, 5 minute videos, I think I'm going to want to compete with the competition. Those are my videos.
So with that to be I will go.
Yes, sir. We have inferiority competition. When the war took place between Pakistan and India a month ago, did you see how Pakistan was trying to make fun of India? Did you notice that? I'm not worried, I like to see. The biggest fun they were making is the clothing we wear and cow and all of that and cow wearing. The 3 things they were talking about. Besides the words and and women. So there were 4 things they were saying. I was just watching, observing. What is India doing in Pakistan? Right? Trying to be a mediator, right? And I'm saying you can even make fun of those things. Sindoor or a woman's bride is such a beautiful cultural thing. Kurta pajama, which I like to wear. You can see my Facebook, I post once in America. Wearing kurta pajama. My dad's birthday was recently and I wore a kurta pajama with a jacket. And I'm proudly posting it, sharing with Americans what a kurta pajama is. We have an inferiority complex, that's why other people can laugh on us. There's something wrong with Hindi, there's something wrong with kurta. So sir, to answer your question earlier and Man's question now about Singapore Convention, the problem is we're trying to copy and imitate how America, London or India or something are training. The issue is we have to create a localized way of thinking about mediation. Sir, how Haryana, how a Gaon, how a Kerala, Punjab will be mediated has to be different. And ancient techniques developed here, they were always there. We are good in copy paste, I know that. A toothbrush is made in the US, 2 days, same copy comes in India within 24 hours or 2 days and not cheaper. You know how many Bollywood songs are copy, literal copy of Hollywood songs with no association of Indian what you call the creative order. Why do we copy? We are one of the most creative beings. Why are we copying? So this goes back to my previous question, inferiority complex. Somewhere deep down, because of colonialism, because of our history, we have thought we are inferior. I'm sorry I'm making a bit clear, but this is at least I reflecting on myself. We have to overcome that fear that we are inferior to anybody. We can speak Hindi, Hindi Bhasha, GS English sir used to bring it to his court in 2005 when I was working in 2004. And sir will tell him the entire court, I think your Hindi mein kya problem hai? I'm writing it tomorrow with the blessings if I can. And sir will say, Hindi Bhasha is very good. And I'll say the same thing in Punjabi. I make it in Punjabi recently in the case with some of the farmers. It's okay. I'm not judging myself, can I do the mediation in Punjabi? That's just I'm using language as an anecdote. I'm not saying language as an is the only thing. It's an example I'm using, so don't stress out on language. The example I'm using is, what are we thinking of our capability? Can I do a case in Singapore, in London? The real question is, till you think you can do it, you cannot do it. You have to tell yourself I can do it. It is not about Pepperdine, Harvard or other names, no. You have seen right now, if I make one claim, you have seen the leader of one of the freest nations, quote unquote, in the world, how the leader is acting. You think this is where the world is headed? You think that's the best of civility? So if that is the example in front of you, right, that's the example in front of you, you can see nothing wrong in our culture, building our culture, building our roots, and producing. But now, produce now. Next time I'm here, challenge me, show me how will you teach mediation the Indian way. ये क्या बात हुई क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो Pepperdine, India, America? No, don't question anything. Produce. No, Karl Marx said beautifully.
Do it very soon.
Yes.
It should be in here. Do well.
Yeah,
Karl, we will challenge.
Karl Marx said beautifully. He said the most beautiful part of our mind is in creation. Is in struggle. A human mind is most content when it struggles and creates. And that is what AI is killing. That's why these phones are killing in our children. Because there is less creation, less struggle. Everything is provided in a thali. And when this thing dies, then life dies. Dad, my phone died. Oh my gosh. There is no, we went to a house recently in Himalayas, in a national park in America, and there was no Wi-Fi for 2 hours. My kids thought that's the end of the world. Daddy, yes, Wi-Fi नहीं चल रहा. I was having coffee with my wife. I said, okay, मैं coffee पीता हूँ. तो क्या हुआ 2 मिनट बाद? Daddy, Netflix नहीं चल रहा. Bhai, we are in mountains. Enjoy the nature. Look outside. That's my kids. I'm not talking about you. I'm अपने बच्चों की बात कर रहा हूँ. And look at where we are next. So the point here, Sranaji mentioned communication. Sir mentioned communication. The real question we can ask ourselves is, what do you believe you can do? And then an opportunity. Krishna ji said it, right? Krishna ji said it beautifully. When you manifest something, opportunity appears in front of you. जब आप कुछ आँख बंद करके सोचते हो, वो अपने आप आपके सामने प्रकट हो जाता है. If you think of that word, the first thing is the manifestation. Can I do it? The moment you manifest, it will appear. Sorry for the long answer.
Sadhana would always emphasize on immunizing mediation.
Absolutely.
She would always emphasize.
Sorry.
Not even give it.
Hey,
Radhika was first then.
Yeah, allowed me like a mic.
Radhika ji, mic.
Is my colleague here, but can you amplify my voice? Are you audible? Am I audible?
Hello? Okay, great. Firstly, thank you so much. Very interesting to have heard your themes that you talked about. Very quickly, I'm sure we could have spent more time in each one. I would like to say 3 things that I observed, and I have a question as well. Number 1, the premise of mediation, as you said, is trust. And yet, I think, and I can see it not just here, and I can speak, because in the last 5-6 years I've come for many round tables across. The elephant in the room, I would say, that is a basic trust deficit between the lawyers and the mediators. Clearly, that's come out. The second trust deficit which is there is between the mediators itself. Why? Because I think like any nascent starting, we've not institutionalized mediation, where it is institutionalized perhaps in the court and court annex, where you have shaped certain ways in which mediation is done, and some of the challenges that I put here are definitely there. But in the private sector, and there's a huge opportunity in the private sector where there is so much of conflict which is not being referred to in mediation at all. How do you address this trust deficit within our community? What is the action that's required for that? Number 1. Number 2, in an environment, and you just mentioned whether it is US, global, and otherwise, there is such a hugely adversarial way in which we communicate. So our environment across the world, in schools, in colleges, at the workplace, and I specialize in workplace conflict resolution, it is so adversarial. If 90% of the people are adversarial and we would like to communicate in a way which is empathetic, which understands the pain of others, whereas it has become a cruel and a very heartless society in which we are all living in. In that, we would like to nurture mediation. Thirdly, I put here on mediation itself, should we do pro bono? You mentioned, let's do as much mediation which is pro bono, and it should be, whether it's paid. Shreya mentioned that, we don't get paid. Here I would like to differ. I've been in mediation for the last 5 years, and I have had not a single party not paid, full and final. Paid in terms of time, paid in terms of sessions, and I think they even have told me that I undercharged rather than overcharged. So I think it's also about how we present ourselves, what is it that we think we are valued at, and I think first and foremost, before anybody else, I think as mediators within this world and this community, how do we treat each other and how do we cheer each other? How do we communicate with each other in tones that are kind, that are compassionate, and all of that, I'm sorry, but it is missing.
Absolutely.
And lastly,
I'd like to say about myself. I'm a non-legal mediator. And I feel very excluded because I hear that you need to be, even to go to the Delhi High Court or anywhere else to be registered, you have to be a lawyer. Whereas everything that we've talked about has got nothing to do with law. So I have a request, Mr. Chandio.
Let me answer that first. Let me answer it.
Yes.
You hit the nail on the
Court
head.
annexed mediation is court annexed mediation.
I go to the lawyer after.
No, 1 minute.
Ah.
Court annexed mediation is a court annexed mediation which court will have its own rules. So obviously my entry into the profession is my entry into the court. Therefore we will not be able to do that. I don't think we are reached that stage where we'll be asked, we'll be able to have to do that. In fact, to get to you better there is that the court annexed mediation today is recognizing those mediators only who are only trained by that court. We are trying now to see after the Mediation Act has come that we should have across that board. Once we cross that, then probably second thing will come. I'm sure we will do that. So that's the problem. What we are suggesting that you have knowledge of domain is not the expertise. The question that I raised was that if I don't have the domain knowledge, and I gave you an example, that dispute between me and the children was decided. I gave up my right in the property, and I got a fat bill from the income tax saying him getting capital gain situation. So all these questions comes in. Therefore, there is a need to know the fundamentals.
Absolutely.
See, it's different to say when you are dealing with a corporate with respect to a female being harassed or whatever. Those things are different. Maybe still we need to know the principles. But I am saying, unless I know the principles, it will help mediator. If you're not, I'm sure if you need some complex case comes to you, you can always ask A or JP to come and sit next to you as a co-mediator.
Correct.
Or some other lawyer to come who is not even a mediator. So that is not a disadvantage. But the fact is that we need to look at it. Because if we are drawing our settlement, for example, and those settlements are not in accordance with that, we again need to figure.
I agree with you,
That's
the
all.
settlement is at the last, I'm
No,
talking
I'm just
only
giving
to
you,
the part.
I'm just giving the example.
It's just my
Yes.
thought.
Can I add on something to what you said?
Yes, sir. Bolo.
So it is, don't run after the court and expedition, come to
I'm not,
Maadhyam.
I'm not.
You will come to Maadhyam and we will train you.
It was not about me, it was the concept of
Yes, it is
non-legal
genuine.
mediation. It is just that.
In the conclusion of what you had ended last regarding being more approachable in terms of confidence that we need to improve ourselves. So it's going to be an international platform in terms of having some basic principles and also strategy. When we have to look forward for an international mediation, what are the skills we need to really concentrate on to equip ourselves?
Absolutely. Very good question. Very good question.
Thank you so much.
So I'll answer Radhika's question and come to that. So you asked 3 points and quickly come through. Number 1, you brought up the idea of trust again. And some of our community doesn't trust each other. I want to be very careful but honest and very careful. In the last 3 days only, 2.5 days, I'm really in no love again to everybody. I know I'm just a tourist right now, a few days I did it. The change I wish our country and culture can make is the level of concept and putting down the other. I have heard in 3 days, I cannot tell you. From everyone, from my students who are younger, right? There are some exceptions. Some people have translated that, but it is so समूह बहुत है ऐसी बात करेगा अच्छा लगता है but लेकिन उस practice कैसे start करें why would you do that so you have absolutely hit the nail and that's not just a religious issue this is an issue in our culture हम एक दूसरे को improve करते हैं why do you think China is beating us in many ways why they collaborate our Gujarati community in America is very successful. You know why? They collaborate.
Absolutely.
My community, Punjabi community is not as, it is successful, not as why? Because we compete.
Indian crab.
एक चढ़ जाए ना, exactly grab. वो क्यों चल रहा है? Why is he here? So Radhika ji, you have an excellent point. Not just mediators, but I'm hearing about Maadhyam. अरे Maadhyam did 2 events, they should have done 3. Okay. Sorry, I will tell Mr. Chandru. But Mr. Chandru is amazing. I want to be his mentee all my life. Right? But Maadhyam should have done 3 events. अरे ये क्या negativity कहाँ से आई है यार? कहाँ से आई है? How much are you paying for this event today? Thousands of dollars. सब कुछ मिल रहा है. Then we have question, we are going negative first. So the problem we have is now Singapore calls on you in this room. I can't guarantee you, right? Let's assume Sindhyotsar is not sitting here. Let's assume, right? So he's not part of the assignment. But the question comes in front of you. You need to go for 3 leaders. I hope you don't pick up a list of America and England and Singapore. I hope you trust people within this room and to say Sanika ji should be part of it. Sanika ji should be part of it. And that is where the collaboration हमारे पूरे नहीं है, competition बराबर है. That's I'm hitting the nail right here.
Yes.
Sanika ji, and it's not just the mediators issue. There's some issue within our culture. I don't know where it came from. Sir can have more guidance on it where it comes from.
You
But it is so
mentioned
deep.
inferiority complex. It comes from somewhere there.
Yes.
That we need to, it's deep.
It
To
may-
get anybody else, I think as mediators at least we should have
Yes. Great.
security. Yeah.
Yeah.
People like
Yeah.
Jerry, all these things.
That's what the,
That's
that's
it.
the competition.
Long's question.
So, almost. So I will come. So you mentioned the word environmental, adversarial, competitive, the word around. That is very you try to use the word. You touch the nerve of pulse of where the world is headed. And I think rise of populism, rise of some of our leaders who are more competitive, and the rise of this generation where there is more suffering and there is more outward happiness. See, the inner happiness is what our Indian faith have taught us. Is where everything is. So we are looking outside for happiness. Be it Google, be it mail or a check, whatever that is, be it the profile on a newspaper or Instagram post. That outside success will never satisfy internally. So you have a good point, I'll leave it there. Your word is the third thing important is promote and use the second word. What is my value? That is very good point you touched. Absolutely right. Ma'am, you brought up the point about skills. You said international mediators. What skills do we need? That could be, that's a very good question. My simple tip on the skills we need internationally, number one skill that we have, but we have to believe in it again, or work on its further improvement, is communication skills. And let me explain what I mean. Communication skills are also, what is your marketing looks like? I was talking to someone about websites. I invested a lot in 2 websites, invested a lot of money in my websites. My developer is in Pakistan, my other developer is in Florida, and my third promoter is in India, so across country. And so the reason is my website is my communication to the world who I am. You see, every word I'm thinking through, every word. I spend hours, not just money, hours. That communication is very important, right? Number 2 communication you have to have is you telling the world who you are. That's your resume, that's your sales pitch, that's your pitch. Now everybody's not here to do so. Everybody knows you, right? We have to tell the world. So you have to be prepared. There are 3 things I can do, and this is what I'm doing. I'm still learning that. Having lived in the Western country for 20 plus years, I'm still not good at it, to be honest. I don't know if the Indianness in me or हमारे में घोट के भरा हुआ है कि अपने बारे में बात करनी नहीं है. You cannot tell who how good you are. नहीं, I don't know. कुछ बेइज्जती है ना आपकी, तो क्या कहते हैं नहीं. Not me. हमें thanks भी नहीं आता है. We are so beaten down to even say thank you, I appreciate it. ये सीखने के लिए मुझे 10 साल लगेगा. कोई प्रेस करता है ना, you are the best professor. I would say नहीं. Who am I? To learn that, what is it? How the Western cultures get cases? Do they say that? No, don't hire me. What do they say? I'm the best. I've done 100 arbitrations. Hire me, I can speak English and Hindi. And they get the job. Besides, of course, the racism. So it's a very good question. The last comment I'll make in the time is last comment is such a good question. Skill set. You have to be aware of international trends in India, not just Indian trends. You have to learn what kind of arbitrations, mediations, are from professional international mediation center. You have to learn. You have to pick up your phone and call people who are doing those cases and ask them. That's the hardest part. Nobody's going to bring you in unless you have some knowledge. Not just the domain of the subject matter, but knowledge of the system, of the culture, where things are built. So it's a good question. I hope some justice to it.
Thank you everyone. I think there are 15 minutes time to 3 hours. That's what some people asked for. But you answered everything. We anticipated and you answered everything for you, and you know what kind of, like that's what a person who can read your mind. You already have read the question that I was about to ask. So thank you so much. That was great. When Sir said learning never ends, maybe I've done more than 50-60 trainings by now, and every time I learn something new. And if you see my notes, what you said,
Thank you, sir.
the whole thing is full of. And I had fun, and the day I think, that's what we learned from Sir. When you feel that you know everything, that's how downfall starts. And every day we learn. Radhika, yes, 2 things to end with. We have positive envy, we have negative envy. Radhika is doing very well, let me do better than her. That's positive envy. Radhika is doing very well, let me put her down so that I am better than her. That's negative envy. Unfortunately, we are started believing in negative envy. And Sukh Simran, when he talks about our cultural things, unfortunately, since our childhood, what were we taught? Class mein first aana, race mein first aana. That's the whole problem. We've been taught to compete since the childhood. So that's our cultural something which we are inherited, and it sinks into us. When we start adversarial practice, how do I pull you down? That's the only thing that we have done since our childhood. Hook or crook, I must come first. So I've used all kinds of. Unfortunately, yes, that's where we are. But in spite of all that, when you say that, we are still changing that hat. It's not unusual that when you stand up in court, there are so many lawyers who say, please refer this matter to Veena. Please refer this matter to Sudhanshu. Please refer this matter to Mr. Chandru. Why? Because they went through those 500, 1,000 cases pro bono and they reached the place where they are. When he said, yes, invest your time. That's what is the most important part through any kind of mediation. Whenever you get an opportunity, do it. It's not the money money will follow you later. We get sometimes conciliations where you get 6 figures, people are paying you back. It will come. But first, have that tag. Market person will determine. We don't go to every surgeon. Everybody's done MBBS MS. But you have Dr. Prem, Dr. So-and-so. Why do we only go to them? See, all this will happen. But unfortunately, when mediation came, we thought we should be all getting work from day one. 40-hour training, I'm already a mediator, why am I not getting work? That just introduces you to the concept. Today you have to hone your skills. I like that part. Yes, we do crib. मैं सही जाकर क्या करूँगा? मैं strong steps, what will I get? I will never get an international matter. But question is why invest in it? I like that statement that was made. Invest in time is invest in it. So, lot to learn something. Lot to learn and then. So thank you so much and thank you everyone. We did overshoot our time. But
Sorry about that.
no, not you.
Don't be all
Not you. But question is, I think I don't want to come in between lunch and us because we are nice.
We are happy to hear such experienced people.
But we are another session starting at 6 and we have another and I'm just on the way.
Clapping for
You already you could please join us for lunch in the
You know,
dining
a
room.
touch of humanity and